Welcome to the Lights Out Podcast. This is Chris Lights Out Lytle, and this is our journey to document the history of mixed martial arts. I have brought with me my friend, the MMA detective Mike Davis, and together we will preserve the history and hear some great stories from the world in the era of the no-holds barred. Thank you and enjoy.
Welcome back to the Lights Out Podcast. We've got a very special edition here, the Ultimate Fighter Season 1 veteran, as well as a person that has globetrotted all over the world in regards to his journey of mixed martial arts. None other, Sam Hoger. Welcome, brother.
Hey, thank you very much for having me.
So we've been trying to get this thing together for a minute. I'm glad we were able to pull it together. So, yeah. Sam, your mixed martial arts journey, you've got the name the Alaskan Assassin.
Correct.
But when you look at your roots, it seems like Alaska is just one of your many pit stops.
Yeah.
Take us through the beginning, in why you bounced around so much.
So I was raised military. My father was in the Army. And when you're a military brat or not brat, you go wherever the military sends you or sends my father. So when I was born, before I was 1 year old, we ended up in Germany. We were hermits, I recall. And it was I was so young. I remember being over there with all the kids in the German school. And after Germany, we stopped in Georgia for I think less than a year. And then we ended up down in Panama during the war. And I was in Panama until I was a teenager. And then I didn't come to the United States properly and actually understand what was around here until I was almost 13 years old when we went up to Alaska. And after living in Germany and living in Alaska, the thing that you end up realizing is that the United States has all the benefits. Because when I saw the poverty that they have in Central America, and I saw the hard times that a lot of people had to go through in Germany, you see what poverty looks like when there's no, and mind you, this is in the 80s and 90s. You get to see what it's like when there's no out for people, when they have no way to go ahead and try to there's no organization set up for them to get food or to get housing. And the only thing left for them to do is either steal or kill. So when you come here and you see that, oh my gosh, people, we have so many great programs and benefits and things that the people here get to enjoy to provide for the people here. And the opportunities we have here are insane. I cannot believe people make money talking on cameras like this. I can't believe it. Look what Joe Rogan's doing. He's killing it.
Yeah.
And so with that kind of opportunity that's available, it becomes very I think I came here with a different appreciation for everything that the United States has to offer because I wasn't raised here. And until I came here, I didn't get to enjoy it.
Okay. So do you speak fluent Spanish?
Sí, yo hablo español. Ese fue mi primer idioma, por supuesto.
Oh, really? That's excellent, dude.
¿Habla español?
Claro que sí. Estuve 3 años viviendo en México. Y mi esposa es colombiana, nosotros hablamos español puramente en la casa. Yes.
Es la única cosa que ustedes saben hablar ahí, ¿eh?
¿Tú quieres que yo hable yo grabar a mi esposa? ¿Se pueden hablar con ella? Su inglés es horrible.
O sea, si tiene una prima o algo para...
Well, Sam, so what are we doing right now? What's going on in your life right now?
Oh, man. Back to English.
Yeah.
Back to English. No. Right now I'm doing real estate here in Houston. I'm part of the Hero Home Buyers team and the Houston Property Solutions team. We pick up properties that are distressed, and we turn around and get them to the investors that are looking to go ahead and put all the lipstick and makeup on them that they need in order to go to make a profit. Okay, so
are you in the MMA game still?
I do seminars and I go teach and I make appearances. I still train from time to time, but I haven't really been active, but it's crazy when I go mix it up with people, I tend to do pretty well. I tend to still it's like riding a bike. The muscle memory just kicks back in because I've been doing it for so long. I've been doing it since I was 6 years old. And well, not MMA. I started in karate at 6 years old down in Panama. As you can imagine, what they do to 6-year-olds in Panama doing karate, they beat the hell out. They still allowed to hit you with sticks. They don't do that over here. I don't think that. I'm not saying that was every day, but they're strict. And so then from there, went up to did wrestling. I did wrestling in junior high a little bit, and then my senior year of high school, I wrestled at the New Mexico Military Institute. I went down there to Nimi because I got the senatorial nomination to go to West Point. So
Okay.
I want to see if the military thing was going to be for me. I went down there, and I enjoyed my time there. But like one of the things when I spoke with the guys there, he was like, "You're not going to go to no UFC. You're not," because I knew back then I wanted to go to the UFC and fight. That was like my goal, was to fight in the UFC. They're like, "You're not going to go fight in some UFC. You're going to go where the military sends you." And when they said that, I was like, okay, all right, forget West Point. And I took my scholarship to LSU and I went there because I could continue training and fighting. And plus, Louisiana at the time was one of the few states that MMA didn't go dark in.
Yeah, Louisiana, they didn't waver. They definitely didn't waver.
Louisiana doesn't bend a knee. I mean, if they
No,
don't
they
agree,
really didn't, dude. I agree. Yeah, Alabama, Louisiana.
they're not gonna pretend just for the sake of like appeasing anybody's like. So when I was there in Louisiana, that's the fight that I'm selling now to a lot of my friends from my personal vault to help me pay for this car that recently got hit. My car got smashed because another car ran a stop sign, hit a car and spun it out and smashed the back of my car. So I'm selling one of my personal underground fights to like my different friends right now in the community for like $20 a pop. Tell me, cover me getting my new car.
That's cool. Hey, that's a good thing, man. That's a good thing. Yeah. So the earliest that I could train your jiu-jitsu training was to Chris Seifert.
No, Ted Stickle,
okay.
By Alaska. He's the first person that I trained under when I walked. It's funny because Ted Stickle now teaches here in Houston, Texas, and sometimes I go visit him at Next Level Jiu-Jitsu. And it's right over there by Katy. It's a little suburb outside of Houston, in between Houston and Katy. He's got a little school there. And so I've gone there to visit him. But like, that's the guy that I've been under the entire time. When I was 13 years old, or 14, 13, something, when I was a little teenage kid, I walked in there and I said, "I'm going to fight the UFC." And I was a little karate, like brown belt or black belt. I was like, "I'm going to beat all you guys." It's like, he looks at me, he's like, "Shut up, get on the mat," And so we got on the mat. It's like, he's telling me they were doing a drill to pass guard that day, and I spazzed out and somehow got out of his guard and thought I was hot to trot. But Ted let me know real quick. He matched me up with Justin and with Ryder. These are guys from Alaska that now have schools of their own over there. And these guys smashed me. And it was only a couple times that I got to go there because in Alaska, driving from, the smaller communities like Wasilla and Palmer and Eagle River all the way into Anchorage is a 30-minute drive. Not to mention with snow, that turns it into like an hour, almost 2-hour drive sometimes. So 2 hours both ways, or an hour, like anywhere between like an hour and 2 hours going both ways can be hard on your parents. But thank God my parents were, they were encouraging when it came to doing like martial. And so like I started like when I was in Alaska, I restarted, should I say, when I went to Alaska because I didn't get to finish my black belt in Panama in karate. I went to Okamoto's Karate when I was up in Alaska and learned under Yoshihiro Thomas Okamoto. He goes by Tom Okamoto or Sensei Okamoto. And he's got like the #1 school in Alaska. They've got like Junior Olympics, Diamond Nationals. I don't know if you know what any of that is. ISKA, like wins that like a small place like Alaska to have any kind of like win on a national level is a really big thing for our communities up there.
That's cool. That's cool. So did you move to Davenport for college?
No.
Really?
Where did
this is my note. Let me just give you my notes. All right. So I was told you went to Davenport to get your NBA. Okay.
Yeah.
So your MBA in Davenport, was that specifically to train at the MFS or was that just by happenstance?
Well, the way that worked out, that's a good. You did your research. You did your research. Okay.
Always, brother. Always.
Oh, that's pretty impressive that you were able to pull that out of the hat. Okay. No, okay, I'll clarify that story. No. So when I graduated from college at LSU, I had gotten my undergrad down there. Go Tigers. Go Saints. After I graduated from LSU, my father, since I graduated a year early, he told me my whole life, "I will never buy you a car." I was like, all right, fine. And so I didn't have a car the entire time I was in college or in high school. So since I had graduated a year early from college and I'd saved him all kinds of money, he was like, "You know what, son? I'll get you a car." And I didn't even expect it. So he got me this little tiny Ford Ranger. I was like, I didn't care I had a car. So I jumped in that thing and I drove. Well, wait, let me backstory this a little bit more so you have context on why I made the drive to Iowa that day, like a couple days after I graduated from college. So during this, what was it, spring break of my senior year, everybody, and this, mind you, this is back in like 90s and 2000s, the hottest place to go party, if you remember, was where?
Hottest place to go party? Dude, it's New Orleans, man, or even Daytona Beach. Where?
Dude, where was MTV at?
I thought it was Daytona Beach, California.
Everybody went over to what is that place, Corpus Christi, down by there. Remember,
Oh,
that's when they had this thing called MTV Jam, which literally
yeah.
people that were just dancing to like all the latest music, and they had their little dance moves. They tried to like go by the way of Soul Train, but it never caught on with that kind of like.
Right. Yeah, I remember that. Okay.
So anyway, so I was in a fraternity. It's called Delta Tau Delta. It's these guys. It's DTD. So I was a part of that fraternity when I was in at LSU. Wonderful guys, but I think we weren't a full fraternity yet because for some reason we had managed to like be so distinguished that we got kicked off of campus for.
That's good. That's what you're supposed to do.
I don't know what kind of debauchery ensued, but like something ensued that went insane. I don't know what it was, but like we got kicked off. And so anyway, so we were the Kappa Crescent Colony and we were trying to come back. So all my frat brothers were telling me, we're going to go out here during spring break and we're going to party, la, 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 la. And so I told them, I said, guys, I'm not going to go. And they're like, what do you mean you're not going? Like, we're going to go get all these chicks, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I can't go. And they're like, why not? Because a couple weeks before we were supposed to head out over there to go party down in, by Corpus Christi, I got on the phone and I was like, okay, I got a list of all the teams that I wanted to like train with and like learn under. So at the top of the list, I think there was you remember Oyama, Team Oyama?
Yeah, it's here in Chicago. Yeah.
Okay, and then there was Team Punishment, which Tito
Ortiz, yeah, Eddie Ruiz.
Tito was running the scene back then. There was Miletich, and then Boss Rutan had something that he was starting up. I remember, but it never the team thing didn't take off at that time.
He was out of Glendale, California. Okay.
So I called so I was like, how am I going to get in touch with these guys? I go on SureDog, and I start looking on SureDog for who the managers are of these fighters in order to go ahead and call them and say, hey, can I come train with you? So I called one fighter, called the other, I called this. Nobody's calling me back. I'm some college kid that's like rattle yanking off about what I want to do. I want to make it to the UFC and be a fighter, la, 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 la. And mind you, the UFC is illegal at this time. It is illegal to do what we're doing. And I'm still taking amateur cage fights that are underground over there in Louisiana all the time. I had a little bit of a name for myself over there in Louisiana. The Alaskan Assassin was, I had some traction.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So, and I had gone undefeated during that time.
So who calls you back?
Huh?
Who calls you back? Who calls you back first?
Nobody calls me back. So then I'm like, I remember talking to my coach, Chris Seifert, the one that you mentioned earlier. He had mentioned that Monty Cox was the manager of the Miletich Fighting Systems guys. So I saw that Monty Cox had an AOL address. And on AOL, there was this little box on the side of your AOL thing that was called AIM, AOL Instant Messenger. And anytime somebody came onto AOL Instant Messenger, their name would pop up in there. You just had to enter whatever their AOL address was. So I saw that Monty Cox was promoting this Extreme Fighting Challenge show. And I looked for I read through the whole thing and I started reading through all the small area. And then I saw the contact, if you want to get in contact with a promotion for either to apply to fight or to get a sponsorship. And it was, I can't remember what it was, Fight Iowa at AOL.com. I put it in my AIM box and I stayed awake for ever. Every night I'd stay awake, just waiting to see if that name would pop up. I think one day I'm playing this new game that came out called Diablo. Have you ever heard of that game?
I'm not a video game guy, but yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah.
I was playing that game and all of a sudden I see his little name. I think I was playing that or I was playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater or something. Or anyway, so I see the name pop up in there and I'm like, abandoned game. Boom. I was so far in that thing. And so anyways, I get it there. I click on Monty Cox and I'm like, Monty, you don't know who I am, but I want to go ahead and train and fight. I want to be in the. I wrote I've never written an essay that fast. And mind you, when I typed back then, I used to look at what I was typing. So I was like, hyping, telling him all the stuff that I wanted to do. And then I hit send, and there's a pause, and I'm like, did I say too much? What did I do? And then I get a reply. I'll tell my dad you messaged him. Like, what? And my phone number was in there. Like, mind you, we didn't have cell phones. We had these phones that you had to like punch and dial in.
Yeah.
And Monty calls. I don't know. I think Monty just messages me back and he goes, call Pat. And like, I see it. He puts Pat's phone number in there. I'm like, is this Pat Miletich? Is this Pat? And so I was like, so now like, oh man. Okay. All right. So then like, and mind you, it's 2:30 in the morning when I get this message, right? And it's kind of like, have you ever gotten the number of like somebody that you're excited to like, have you ever met that like hot chick that's just like,
oh yeah,
caliente, you know, she's got like the, you know, all that. And so, you know, I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm starting to feel like nervous like that. Like, oh man, this is like the chance. Because remember at that time, Jeremy Horn was like the most active fighter on the scene. Remember that?
Is the man.
Well, Jeremy Horn is really good. No, but the man, who's the man, dude? Come on now.
I go with Jeremy Horn. I mean, if
Jeremy's great, but who's the man?
Dude, you're not even going to say Travis Fulton. I know you're not going to say
I'm not going to say Travis. You said Travis Fulton. Travis Fulton's a legend too, but no. Who is the man?
Oh, fuck, dude. Like,
bro, you know exactly who I'm thinking about. I can't believe you're not.
You talking about MFS pecking order?
No, of course not MFS. Okay, in MFS, Jeremy's the man. Yes. No.
Okay.
Pat's the man. Jeremy's the man. Pat's the man. But Jeremy is like right there. Yes. But no, I'm not talking MFS. I'm talking like globally. Who's the man? Wait. Other than Sam Hoger. Who's the man?
Okay. If I had to pick one, if I had to learn under one person, Boss Fruitin is definitely, and that Marco Huas is right there.
No.
Well, Hoist Gracie's the fucking man, dude.
Well, Hoist Gracie is the starter. No. Who's the man, dude?
Okay, go ahead. Who is it?
Jon Jones, bro. Who do you think?
Oh, fuck, come on, dude. I go Fedor Emelianenko before Jon Jones, but okay.
Wait, how are you going to go Fedor Emelianenko over Jon Jones, dude? Jon Jones would murder him.
They both would melt. Hey, both of them would melt a piss cup.
Fedor at his prime and Jon Jones at his prime. Jon Jones doesn't win it 9 times out of 10. Be honest.
You can make that argument.
No, I can't make that argument. That's what would happen, bro.
Yeah, there's no argument. It's settled.
Bro, no, I think you're saying that just to appease me. I don't think you really believe what I'm saying.
No, you know what? It's just the character of Jon Jones, but
I don't want to hear about somebody's character.
Right. Like, you know, think about what we
Barry
don't.
Bonds, how many home runs did Barry Bonds make? Do I care how he made them?
No.
Dude, like I'm
no.
like I assume we are both men, right? As men, we don't get the luxury of like saying, "Oh well, I didn't like how and this, that, the." It's like either you did it or you didn't do it, and either you are that guy or you're not. Because at the end of the day, the world is unforgiving to us. You know that.
Yeah, you're right here.
Women, children, and pets get the luxury of being loved unconditionally. The only reason anyone loves you other than your mother is because you provide something of value.
I agree with that.
That's all. Lose your job and tell me if that wife is still going to be there for you 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
What I'm talking about, dude. And so now to put that into context, Barry Bonds delivered those home runs. Jon Jones delivered those whippings. Sam Hogan likes to talk a lot, but tell me I'm not telling the truth.
Yo, gotcha. For sure. So you connect with Pat. How soon after are you driving to Iowa?
So to go to Iowa, in order for me to go there during that summer, I went and I purchased. I didn't have a car, so I had to get out there. And I'm not Bill Gates, so I couldn't get a plane and fly out there. So as a college student, I was like, I'm not going to hitch. I was thinking hitchhiking, but I was like, that can get crazy. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy this thing called a Greyhound bus pass. And I was like, you know what? It shouldn't take more than it's like a 18-hour drive. Like if you go straight, or 20-hour drive. I was like, I'll be there 20 hours. I got that Greyhound bus pass. And I want to say it was like 36 or something hours just to get there. We're going from stop to stop, going here to there. And I'd call Pat and I said, Pat, I got a Greyhound bus pass. I'm coming up there for my spring break. And he's like, okay, see you here. I was like, oh my gosh. He said, okay. I was, I was enamored because I'm talking to somebody who's like a superhero to me right now. And so I get on this Greyhound bus.
We can't give a little advice for people at home taking a 36-hour bus ride. There's very few stops in between. If you don't have water, you will be drinking out of the bathroom fucking sink. Yeah, that non-potable water. I am telling you, if you ever going to embark on it, always take bottled water with you. Go ahead.
So I'm on this bus, and that's back when cell phones were these little like square blocks like this. You had that little game with the worm that runs around like this. And
yeah.
But the problem is that every time I looked at my cell phone, I'd look at the time, and the time would never go by fast enough. So finally, I had to put the cell phone away, and I started just talking to like all the people on the bus. And there was some guy that was getting out of jail, and some woman who was like trying to go across the state to like meet up with her daughter, and and so like I'm sitting on this thing, and I look outside the window, and I'm like, okay, this is how I'm going to do time for today. I'm going to do time like this. I don't think I've done it since. The sun is up right now. The sun will be right where it's at when I'm about 5 hours outside of Davenport. So I put the phone away. I just started talking to everybody, enjoying. Sun goes down, pass out. Like we stop at some like random stop. I go inside and I get some Kit Kats and some like Gatorade. Get back inside. Can't fall asleep because you're all sugar high, and then crash. Then all of a sudden we finally get to Davenport. Pat, and then like I call Pat on a payphone. I'm like, Pat, I'm in town. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, I'm in town. He's like, stay at the bus station. I'll be there. So I hang up the phone. Now I'm nervous. Now I'm freaking out. I'm like, oh damn, Pat's gonna be coming. So then, like about 30 minutes pass, and then I see him walking into like the bus station. He's like, hey Sam. And I look and I see him, and I'm like, oh shit. Pat, what's up? And he goes, Sam? He's like, yeah, come with me. And I was like, all right, let's go. So I grab all my bags, and I go and I jump in, and we're inside this like SUV. Sitting in the front seat when I get in there is the lightweight champ of the world.
Oh, Jens Pulver.
100%. I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I'm already around I can't.
Royalty, bro.
Dude, put yourself in my shoes in that moment. Dude.
You're pretty nervous. Yeah, they can sense like, oh, fuck. It's one of them.
and so like Jen's just literally cool as hell. He just leans over and goes, what's up, man? Jen's Pulver. I was like, I know exactly who you are. I wasn't gonna play like, oh, who are you?
Yeah.
I don't know who you are. I was like, I know exactly who you are. Nice to meet you. He's like, cool. So we start driving over to this little hotel by this place called Old Chicago. It's this little pizzeria that they have over there in the Quad Cities. And there's this little, like, I don't know if it's like a Holiday Inn or something, but there's this little hotel that you can stay at. So Pat drove me over there. He's like, all right, got your room here. Go over to your room. So I go to my room, and I'm like thinking, okay, what are they going to do? Is like a bunch of guys going to come here tonight and try to jump me or something? So I put on my MMA trunks, and I was like, all right, well, whatever. I don't care. Let's go, I get a knock on my door. I was like, all right, do or die. Let's go. I think I put my mouthpiece in my pocket. I looked at the people and I can't see anything. Then I open the door and there's this fucking giant standing in front of my door. And I'm like, okay. And so like, I'm trying to play it cool, but like you're a college kid. You got all that fresh testosterone running through your system. And you're like, you don't know like what these guys got in mind for you when you're coming over there to like, try to like be a part of like the most elite team in the history of fighting.
Well, let's also talk about like people now talk about like how intense the sparring was and how many people got run out of Miletich.
No. Nobody ever got run out.
There's people that left because of the beatings they took.
But nobody was ever run out. Everybody was welcome with open arms. That's not
okay. Oh, okay. Well, there was one guy that got popped with a shitload of steroids. He got ran out. We're not going to say his name. He was a shit fighter anyway. But go ahead.
talking about? What are you talking about?
There was one person that definitely got run out, but go ahead.
During my tenure there,
okay,
say that I never saw that. That might have no one. I have never seen, and like the only reason anybody leaves is because they cannot take the intensity of what happened in there.
What are we going to refer to that as?
What do you refer to that as?
Yes.
Training.
Okay. They don't like the training. So there's people that just didn't mesh well with the type of training that happened at MFS, right?
Let me explain something like that. Like you have to understand when you're entering. Okay. So I'm gonna. So that guy that was at my door, by the way, was Tim Sylvia.
For sure. Yeah.
And then he's like, "Oh, so I hear you're the new heavyweight in town." And I was like, I am, because I didn't want to seem like a punk, I didn't want to seem like a little pussy. So I was like, I am. What's up? He was like, well, I'm the heavyweight on this team. I'm like, well, we're going to see how long that lasts, because I thought he was going to beat my ass. So like, I was like, I'm going to talk shit the whole way then if that's what's going to happen, Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm sorry. No. You know what I mean?
Well, you couldn't. I mean, not if you want to survive there, for sure.
No, so I said, I think I'm going to be taking that spot. And he's like, or something like that. And he's like, no, okay, we're going to find out. And he's like, be ready tomorrow, 6 in the morning. I'm coming to, or 9 in the morning. I'm coming to pick you up. And I'm like, I shut the door and I was like, whew, thank God this dude didn't beat my ass. This dude looked like a badass. Because Tim back then, dude, was a monster. I mean, he still is. But I mean, back then he was like, am I putting you to sleep? Are you yawning?
No, I think that's Super Brawl era Tim Sylvia, which is like the best shape that Tim Sylvia was ever in his entire career.
Sylvia was ever in was Tim Sylvia versus Jeff Munson. Jeff Munson, Abu Dhabi champion, unstoppable force in the UFC, communist crazy head guy, but is dominated the Naga circuit, dominating the Jeff Munson was the man across the board. Like, and then when Tim Sylvia fought Jeff Munson and we were doing all that rolling and prepping for that, that was the best Tim. Like
that was best Tim Sylvia. Okay.
You have to really be an official now, though, to know what you're looking at when you're looking at that fight. That one or the one fought Orlovsky after the loss, after his first loss to Orlovsky.
Okay, but here, let's talk about your first day MFS.
Oh my gosh, dude! So like, I can't sleep. I'm laying in bed sweating like crazy. I'm sweating like I just saw the ghost of like Christmas or something. So, needless to say, I pass out and then I hear at my door. I'm like, all right. I just woke up right away. I think I put on like my t-shirt. I think I put on some Sambas because I always wear Sambas, Adidas. Put them on and I was like, I opened the door and it's Tim. And he was like, you ready? And I'm like, let's go. And so we get together and Tim drives a little tiny Ford Ranger. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. How are we going to feed this thing? Because we're giants, So I get inside this Ford Ranger with him. And this is back when Miletich Fighting Systems was inside of this Gold's Gym over in Bettendorf.
Is in Bettendorf. Yeah.
Upstairs, there was like all the like nice new Gold's Gym equipment. It was like an official Gold's Gym. They had the place. They had all the girls wearing the tight spandex looking nice. They had all the bodybuilders in there doing their, getting their, and then you go down the stairway, and then there's a couple doors. You walk through the first door, and then there's 2 doors right here. You walk through the second door, mats, mirrors, hanging bags, Tide pads, crash pads. The mats are flooding, right? But that was the next day. So we go over to that Gold's Gym. When I get to that Gold's Gym, Tim's like, all right, let's go. We're going to do the circuit. I'm like, what's the circuit? You have to do like pushing, pulling, down out, bicep, squat, Get upstairs. You run on the running machine. Then you get back downstairs. You start going through it over and over and over. And you do it like 3 times. And by the time you get to, so I guess it's like 3 times. So you burn out every type of muscle group you're going to use in a fight. After we got done, Tim's like, all right, you made it. He's like, cool. And I like, mind you, I had no sleep and I was wired like Spaceballs. You don't know about Spaceballs. That's before your time. But I'm telling you, man, I get downstairs and then like, he's like, all right, what's up? Let's roll. I was like, what's up? Because I was doing Jitsu and I was pretty decent at it. So I get in there, like we start on our knees, we lock up, we go, and I let him start like, running me over a little bit. And then I'm like, I activate. Boom. I start going stripping out. Boom. Get in my guard, trying to hit my sweep. And like start going. And like I start getting on the offensive on him, and he's like, so like he's tired. Like I'm trying to get after him. I'm trying to submit him, but no luck. And then like finally, like the bell. No, before the bell rings, I think he catches me in a triangle one time. And I'm like, all right, let's go. Pop, pop. And we started going again.
Tim Sylvia caught you in a triangle?
Dude, okay, let me remind you again. What did he do to Jeff Munson, the best grappler on earth at that time? Like they put them like Tim never showed his ground game other than in that fight. But like
I agree with that.
Dude, you guys don't understand.
Well, here in our Munson interview, Munson said that he got caught with a real short hook that also may have knocked him out a little bit prior to getting caught like that. You know what, dude? I never thought of it like that. You might be right.
Dude, shut the front door.
That's what he said. I'm telling you, that's what he said to us. It's one of our best interviews ever. Dude, here. I have collected Jeff Monson embarrassing stories from about like 15 or 16 different people, and then just casually would bring up just a segue to that story, and he went all in. Like he did not avoid any, like he was married and went on vacation with another woman and got that woman's name tattooed on him and admitted it. Then got home and Dennis Hallman had to pick him up at the airport to get a cover up over that name. No, dude. Jeff is probably in our Punch More. He's got one of our best interviews. But go ahead.
I wouldn't doubt it. He's a great dude. You know what I mean? But like during that era, you cannot deny he was the man.
Yeah. Yeah, his wrestling background in his Abu Dhabi, yes.
And he's so good. He's learning under Laborio. He's jumping.
Matt Hume.
Jumped. Matt Hume was first, but then when he went with Laborio, he started jumping half guard, like hitting reversals from doing stuff that we hadn't seen on the scene. Jeff was the man, dude. Yeah. Oh, remember when he fought Peter Pano?
Of course,
dude. I mean,
I was at Peter Pano with Jeff Monson 1. Where Jeff Monson got naked at the Gracie Arnold's. Yes.
I'm just telling you, dude. I'm telling you, like, Jeff was the man, dude. And then, now, he's that guy. But does anybody know about how good Tim Sylvia is on the ground? And what happened? And when Tim Sylvia was on the ground, did he pull up or not?
Oh, he definitely, yeah. I mean, he won by sub. He subbed Jeff Monson, which is friggin' insane.
But I know that he pulled up. He's like, yo, I'm like, MFS, we're on that level, you know? And the thing is like, and mind you, most of that credit, I have to say, goes to like Jeremy Horn. Because Jeremy Horn, like amongst us grapplers there, Jeremy was the king of the pile right there. Like anytime I could get a chance to roll with Jeremy Horn, I would take it. Because I mean, when he was on, like he was amazing. You know what I mean? And so anyways, back to what I was saying. So I'm down there with Tim Sylvia. I do really well. And then it's like, all right, cool. We're going to come back for training later. So then I come back for training day 1. It's like fundamental 6 to 7, 7 to 8. I think it's like technical pads where they're hitting you back and you got to go ahead and respond. And then 8 to 9 is like takedowns. So then we do takedowns. Wow, we try to take each other down. Everybody stands on the line and everyone's trolling. Or back then it was called heckling. It wasn't called trolling. Everybody's heckling each other, giving each other a hard time. Matt Hughes is throwing everybody all over the place. Robbie Lawler's in there. Like everybody's in there, And it's 1 hour of just strict takedowns. So then I do good that day. Then I think Tim goes, you know what? You're going to stay at my house with me. Okay, let's go.
Dude, man, I'm going to tell you, you are not the first person to come on here and say he was one of the most welcoming, cool individuals at MFS. Josh Neer said the exact same thing.
Yeah, dude. Tim was amazing. Tim was great, dude. I mean, and mind you, I was giving him hell during this time. I was a little college kid that was all like, I don't know what to do, but I got to act hard. I got to be tough. Oh, man. So then, but Tim was great. He welcomed me to his house. He gave me a room. I got to crash there. And, he let me use his Foreman grill that he kept bitching at me that I would, not clean it off, because I had to buy my chicken and broccoli to eat over there. And so, anyways, we get done with Monday, then Tuesday's grappling. So I go there. So you go at 9 in the morning for the morning class, fundamental. It's like Monday was kickboxing. Tuesday and Thursday was grappling. Monday, Wednesday, Friday was kickboxing fundamentals. Every morning you went to fundamentals. And so went in there, did grappling, and I ran through a bunch of the guys there, killed them. And then they were like, like, man, you're pretty good at jiu-jitsu. And I was like, I didn't want to keep talking shit because I could tell Tim was waiting for Wednesday. And he said, Wednesday night, he warned me. He said, Wednesday night, I'm going to knock you out. And I said, you ain't knocking shit out. I'm going to knock you out. You're a big pussy, la, la, la. You big piece of Laffy Taffy or whatever, or what, a big hunk or whatever. I don't know what I call them. You know, big chew or whatever. There was some type of like white pasty candy or something. Anyway, so like Wednesday night comes, dude. And I get in there, I got my gloves on, got my headgear, got my little shin pads. I'm like,
confidence, some confidence.
Dude, you gotta go. If you don't go in there confident, dude, like, anyways. So I get in there, and it's like, and then they say, all right, guys, we're doing like Pat announced however many rounds you had to do. You're doing this many rounds of hard sparring, guys. All right, ready, find a partner and touch gloves. So me and Tim were partnered up. Ding, 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 touch gloves. I move around, throwing some jabs. I try to step in and throw this little bullshit hook kick from karate, see if I can catch him in the head. And then the side of my head. Boom, dude. Oh my God, he blasted me. I was like, and I got up again and like kept trying to come out. He's like, douche, 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 beating the hell out of me. And then all of a sudden, like everything goes black, and I feel like, and I see like this bird in the sky that's flying under the sun, but like I can see the bird flying. You know, it's like, so it's because I'm looking up in the sky. So imagine this sky. It's like this. And then all of a sudden, I feel like water on my face, and I wake up. And Pat's like, Sam, wake up, get up. And I was like, and then like I still hadn't figured out what happened. And I look at Tim, and I see the gloves and my shin pads on. I'm like, this motherfucker, that's good. I get up again, and I start like, let's go. And I go after him. Boom, 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 boom. Knocks me out again. The bird's flying. Dude, this happened like 3 or 4 times. So then finally I was like, you know, we're a couple rounds in. I've been already like knocked out, dropped. This is the first time I've ever been knocked out to where you see this guy. You know what I'm talking about?
I've never been knocked out, but yes.
You've never seen the bird?
Wow. I mean, when I did DMT and mushrooms, I saw a lot of shit.
The bird. Anyways, so
the machine world.
So I get up, right, and then I'm like, I'm fuming, right, and I'm pissed because I've never been knocked out, but like I'm awake, I'm 21, I still got it, and like I'm all off balance and stuff. So then the next couple rounds later, it starts. I get back in there with him, and now I'm like, I'm gonna kick I'm gonna kick his skinny little legs. That's what I'm gonna do. So I throw this baseball bat kick at him, and he checks it, and like I was kicking wrong with my foot down like this, so his bone ran into that muscle over the top of my shin bone, and I kept kicking it. And then finally I kicked it one time and I put my foot down and went boom and fell down because I couldn't stand on my foot because my leg was filled with blood and I wasn't hit with my shin bone. And I was yelling. I was like, I want to fucking get you. And then Pat goes, Sam. And I look at him and he goes, shut up. And I'm like, you can't say that. Pat spoke. You got to shut the fuck up, you know?
100%.
And I mean, that's coach. Shut up. And so I sat there. I was like, and Tim was like, you can't see the glove, but he was like, talking shit the whole rest of the time. I knocked your ass out. And I was like, all right, that's good. I'll be back. So then Thursday was rolling, but like my shins were so like filled with blood from kicking wrong that I couldn't get guard and I couldn't move. And I had to lean all my weight on one leg so I could try to like half-ass do it. So anyways, so then Friday comes. And then I have to get back to school because obviously, like, you know, spring break's a week. So then I got to get back on the Greyhound to get all the way back down to Louisiana. So then on my last day there, I go to Pat. I'm like, Pat, can I join the team? And he goes, after you graduate, come back here.
Man, what a good guy. What a good guy, man.
Thank you so much. Oh, my gosh. He's like, I'll see you when you graduate. Promise. I said, or something like that. Anyways, so I go, I pack my stuff. Me and Tim are still rattle-yakking at each other, you know. And then I get on the Greyhound, 36 hours back down there. I get back to Louisiana now after going through that, right? Training is a breeze. I'm like going back to train with Chris Seifert and like, it's impossible to tap Chris Seifert. At least back then it was. But like, I mean, he was like, I'm rolling with him and I'm doing so much better. And then the fight that you see have you seen the fight that I'm selling?
I have not.
Okay, so the fight that I'm selling is the fight immediately after I came back from MFS. And you can tell from the fights before it to that fight, like there's a saying in combat that like, I don't know if this will make sense to you, but like my shell got harder.
Yes. Yeah.
And you see that reflection in that fight when I fight against, because Jason Braswell, the guy that I was fighting in that fight, he was the man in Louisiana. He had submitted Gabe Barahona. He beat the guys over at the stadium. He was, running around the underground killing everybody. But then my buddy Joe Ancona, he still runs a fight show over there in Louisiana. He's like, hey, Sam. He's like, he's like Joe Ancona is like this old school, like mafia enforcer type guy, like real old school, for real old school, like your father's father type, right? And he goes, hey, Sam, I got a guy I want you to fight. And I'm like, and back then I just come back from Miletich. And so what am I thinking when I came back from Miletich? Anybody. I don't care.
Yeah.
And there's unless they're an MFS, like I will never fight an MFS guy ever. Like if you're part of that umbrella, I have my loyalty, Barring that or anyone I have my loyalty to, it's your ass, So then anyway, so I'd seen Jason fight before and I knew who he was. So when I went out there, since I was the Alaskan assassin, I wore my gi. I think it was a purple belt back then, under Ted Stickle, under Gracie Baja. Well, it's Gracie Baja, Alaska. Before that was Gracie Umata. But I had my purple belt under Ted Stickle. And so I was over there and I wore a Jason mask when I came out, like Hockey, Alaska, And then all of a sudden they started playing my song. Well, I took the song from Tito Ortiz that Donna. It's just one of those days, breaks up by it's on the break. So I started hearing it, like I walk out there to that ring and I take off the mask, I take off the gi. Matt Hughes was in town because the UFC was happening. The one where Robbie Lawler fought against Aaron Riley. That was a war. Like, if there's ever a fight you guys need to see,
Hall of Fame worthy.
Robbie Lawler. It's such a niche fight.
Well, it's a niche fight, but Joe Silva kind of stole that fight from the hook and shoot. Like that was the obvious hook and shoot fight for a title, and Joe Silva started kind of taking those fights over. But go ahead. Yeah, go ahead about yourself. Okay.
Dude, Joe Silva's the man, bro. What are you talking about? You see the fights he put together?
Yeah. But he borrowed that from hook and shoot. That was an obvious hook and shoot main event that he brought over. But go ahead.
I don't know about that, but I'm telling you. So anyways, they were down for that fight, and Matt Hughes is in my corner for that fight. He's like, "Oh man, Sam, what's up?" And I was like, "Hey, Matt, I got a fight." La la la. He's like, "All right," And he just came down there, and he cornered me and told me what to do and how to move. And then Chris was in there telling me to. Chris Seifert was in there telling me what to do. And dude, that fight went back and forth. Hey, $20 if you want to get it. Hit me up on Facebook. Hit me on Instagram. Hit me up on anywhere, guys. It's a niche fight, but just please do not post it if you get a hold of it. But dude, so anyway, so I fought Braswell, and when he started punching me and kicking me, I was like I said at that point, my shell got a little bit harder, and it didn't hurt. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm freaking. You get up and you feel like you got that suit that Earthworm Jim has on. Like you ain't touching this, So anyway, after I got done with that fight, then I got that little Ford Ranger. Got the Ranger, went back up to Iowa, and then that's where full-time MFS started kicking off. And I went there as an.
That's awesome, dude. That's great. So your first amateur fight on record is January 27th, 2001, Reality Combat Fighting. Was this when Rich Clementi was in charge of it, or was this before he bought it?
I don't know. Down south, over there, Rich Clementi is the man, dude. That dude
he still is the man down there.
I know he's the man. I went down there and I saw him, dude. He runs everything down there now. Before that, he was under another guy, I think, named Robert Brandon. I think that was his story.
Yes. Yeah.
And
Rob Brandiff.
Yeah, Rich was part of that
FFC.
Team. And I was part of a different team. I was part of the team under Honey Salas. And that's the team where Chris Seifert and Marco Macera and a bunch of the guys come from. And we went back and forth competing, but in the South, end of the day, Rich Clementi is that guy,
He's doing very well for himself still.
Yeah. He's awesome. His kid, have you seen his kid? His kid is killing it in wrestling.
Both of them. Both his kids. Yep.
Dude, he's dude's awesome. Like, you know, we were competing against each other back in the day, but like now I'm like, and I told that was funny because I ran into him after I'd finished fighting, and I'd like, you know, I'd pretty much hung up the gloves because there was like no contracts of substance coming up. You know, we still kind of had that like that little like, you know, like we're on separate teams kind of like vibe going between us. Even though we were both under Miletich, we still kind of had that little like that little tension from back in the day. And then like he said, so hey, when's your next fight? Blah blah. And then I told him, no, I'm done fighting, dude. I'm done. And he's like, oh, so what are you doing? And I was like, I think at the time I was like, I was running my school over there, like my school over in Houston. And I'm like, so what are you doing? He's like, yeah, I'm still in the fight game. And I'm like, well, dude, I want to see you take over. You're from Louisiana. Like, bro, like I told him, I'm your champ, bro. Anything I can do to help, anything you need. Like, I'm here for you. Like we're not on opposite teams now. Now I'm on Team Clementi. I want to see you take over. And he did. He took over everything, dude. He's the man, you know?
Yeah, he's done very well. So your first fight was against Robert DiMarco. How long?
No, first fight was against a guy named Mike Kennedy.
So how many fights do you have that are not on your record?
Dude, I've got a fair amount. Like I don't know. I've like it's kind of like it's like dating. You know what I mean? Like you've dated so many girls, like you don't remember like all of them, you know? And like I had so many fights in my amateur career. And like the reason why though is obviously because number one, it's illegal. And number
Back
two,
then it was illegal. Yeah, there was no insurance, no ambulance.
Dude, like if you broke your leg, broke your arm, or you died, that's on you, you know? And that's what I was used to. I was used to doing that. Like anytime they would give me a fight. I have this one fight in my vault, but against this guy named I think it was Robert DiMarco. Dude, DiMarco was a house. Dude, I'm a skinny little college kid. You see me in there, and I come in there and I look at him, I'm like, I look at the promoter. The promoters at the time before Rich Clementi were these two guys. There was Chad Robichaux, and he had a partner. What was his name? Give me a second. Let me look it up. Chad Robichaux and oh man, these guys were like the promoters to fight for back then. Okay, let me see. Chad Robo. You know Chad Robo? Oh, and Carl Schmidt. Carl Schmidt and Chad Robichaux.
Former fighter Carl Schmidt?
That one, exactly.
Okay.
So they had a promotion. It was the one that I think it was called Global Sports Entertainment or something like
Fighting Entertainment, Global Fighting Alliance, something like that. Okay.
Something like that. I don't remember, but I know Rich over in the end. But but anyway, so my first fight was against this guy named Mike Kennedy. And Mike Kennedy was notorious for having this big right hand that when he hit people with, like they died for like a second. Like he would hit them and boom, they would be gone. And so I remember like my coach, Chris Seifert, had fought him and he got a submission on him. So then he's like, all right, Sam, the only thing we need you to do is watch out for that right hand. And I was like, okay, got it. Anything else? He's like, you know what to do. I was like, got it. Nothing compared to coaching for Miletich. Miletich was like, look at this, look at that, make sure that you're keeping this distance, make sure, hey, turn his back to the cage when you're here. And he's got a weak, like, Pat's like he's like a doctor when he's in there, you know? And so, anyways, so I get in there and I go to Global, I go to the fight. And man, Mike Kennedy comes out. He's got his black belt on. He's got his heat pants on, looking good. Like he's going to kill something, like he's ready for a movie. And I get in there, and he doesn't know that I know karate. He thinks I'm a jiu-jitsu dude, you know what I mean? But I've been doing karate my whole life, you know? So I get in there, and like, we start moving around. We start pumping some punches. He throws that big right, and I throw the hand up, and it just goes, and it hits me right here. And I'm like, that's his one move. And so then from there, I did, you know that karate kick where you kick the leg, you kick the head?
Oh, yeah.
I came back, and I hit him with that. I went, blue, kicked him in the head, and he goes like that. Dove in, grabbed him, took him down, got him in a key lock, got the win. Place goes crazy, you know?
So the only two amateur fights that you have on record, obviously there are more, are Robert DiMarco and John Accardo. Yeah. Did you ever leave the first round as an amateur?
Oh, yeah. Wait, did I? Yeah, I did.
Because you didn't really leave like the first round often, even as a pro. No, you were a finisher. Dude, you were a finisher.
Well, you know, I mean, it's like I've been doing this my whole life, and I try to explain that to people. Like, guys, I've been doing this since I was a 6-year-old child, like in Central America, where like they beat the fuck out of you as a kid. Like Americans don't understand what it's like to train in like a third world country where like you're not where you're like the American in the third world country, where you're one of them. Because I got brown skin. I'm not white, so they couldn't identify me from anybody else. They beat the hell out of me as a child, So naturally, like I said, that makes you tough, but nothing made you as tough as Miletich. That's where you can get some real third world training plus some third world treatment,
No.
So anyway, so like so like I beat him and I like, big hoorah. I'm so excited. And then like there was a number of fights, man. I can't even remember them all to be like, dude. All I know is like if they said we have a fight, number one, I knew it was underground. And number two, I knew I was walking out to Limp Bizkit. That's it.
All right. Two very important things.
Jason.
Wait, at these underground fights, were they mostly in gyms or warehouses?
No. They would. So one of the things that they would do, I remember this. There's a club called Nacellos. They would rent out. They would have the whole club rented out. And I remember partying at Nacellos, trying to get some of these like girls from Chalmette to like listen to my whatever, my sweet talk. Anyways,
and who was mostly the promoter at these?
Chad Robichaux, Carl Schmidt. They were promoters. I think John Dixon might have had a promotion around that time. I think
he definitely did. Yeah, we got him next week.
I don't know. Because I remember like hearing his name when I was coming up, like, oh man, big man John Dixon. And I was like, who's that? And they're like, oh no, John Dixon in like Mississippi or wherever he lives.
He's the
like,
man. Yeah, he's the man.
He was the man back then. Yeah. Like, what I mean? And so then I was like, oh, no way. Yeah. And they're like, yeah. You got to see if you can talk to him. Whenever you talk to him, he's like, and like, you can't really like get a conversation in with him because like everybody's always like John is like, back then, at least the way that I remember it, John was like, he was the big deal. You know what I mean?
Well,
I think he come off some big fight that he had with somebody.
Well, you're talking about like his first foray into mixed martial arts was in Ukraine, 8-man tournament. He winds up in the finals against Igor Vovchanchin.
Vovchanchin, yes. He ended up in the finals, that guy,
But this is the show where the mafia started holding up the promoters. Like it was Buddy Elbin lost his job with the UFC over it. Dude, there's a lot going on with that show. So yes. Yeah.
So John Dixon, like right now, walking around town, he's like even amongst us Louisiana guys, we recognize like that's John Dixon, And so like, and I'm sure he probably never heard of me or knew of me like back then, So, but like I was a college kid, like, and I'm talking like, and I'm like a nobody, and this is the guy going to Ukraine, like really doing it,
And Sam, I think one of the things is like you were fighting in the NHB era, so that's kind of like today's guys look at the NHB era and they're like, oh my gosh, John Dixon fought in the headbutt era, so the NHB era guys would go, oh no, that's a headbutt era guy. You know what I mean? Like there's layers to like, you're talking about a Vietnam guy looking at a World War II guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know.
In current day are the drone guys. They just push the button. Yeah.
Well, I'm never going to disparage the military. My father was military, so like everything they do to give us the freedom that we have here is a blessing, and I love
absolutely 100%. And I didn't mean it to come across that way.
Like military, fuck you. Like
immediately.
Like I cannot stand ever disparaging the people who protect our freedom.
100%.
Military, police, firemen, all of you guys.
Same page.
All you guys. I really appreciate the work that they do, because without them, we wouldn't be able to enjoy what we enjoy. And I know that because I've been in the middle of a war, during a war, where they were like in Panama when everything was happening right there, when they were trying to remove Manuel Antonio Noriega. I was there during that, So like, I know
shit, dude. Yeah.
No. So my point is though, so like John Dixon walks in, we're like, okay, and I finally get to know who he is. I'm like, oh wow, that's that guy, And like, of course, everybody looks up to him because like we want to be the guy who they fly out to like different places to go fight and do stuff. Because like right now, the only place you get to do it is in like warehouses, bars that they lock down. I never had a gymnasium fight. Sometimes they get the like stadium, but like only if you know the people who are running it can you get inside. And they pay the cops outside of the place to tell everybody else, like, you can't come in, So, like, Dude, it was amazing. It was crazy, but like, and then I would walk around campus, LSU, with a tap out shirt on, right? Because what I would do in order to like train in the morning, I would wake up my girlfriend. I had this girlfriend. Her name was Aaliyah, lovely girl. Should have like married her, right? I would like wake her up in the morning, and she was a troop. It's 4 or 5 in the morning. I'd be like, Aaliyah, get up. She's like, what do you mean? Like, get up. It's 4 in the morning. I would put her on my back. I'd have her like lay down on my back like this, and I would run around campus with her on my back in order to work on my cardio. And then I'd see the military guys running this way doing their, I don't know what you, and I'm running with her on my back. And then like we'd wave at each other, and I got to meet like a whole bunch of people that were in the military, and they kind of had a semblance of what MMA was. And during that time, I was able to start the LSU Brazilian Jiu Jitsu Club.
That's good. Probably still active, I'm assuming. It's got to be.
I don't know.
Let's talk about your pro career. You started with Matt Freeland. Is that your first pro fight?
The one in Iowa. Yep. Matt, the White Buffalo Freeland. I remember that guy. Tough guy.
Art of War, June 21st, 2003.
He was a wrestler, if I recall. We were in a place called Kalispell, Montana, and we were inside, like you can find it online on YouTube, but we were inside this like silo thing when I guess they have like the fair or whatever they have going on there every year. So we go to this thing, and this is my first pro fight. Mind you, before I got that first pro fight, I was an amateur at Miletich for I'd say probably like 6 to 8 months. The only reason they stopped me from being an amateur at Miletich is because I went to Monty Cox's show that he had at this place called Stars and Stripes. And there was a wrestler from Augustana. And, he was a good wrestler. And Jeremy Horn actually officiated that match. I came out there right away, and I'd been training with Miletich for like, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 months. Got my distance, went, smack, kicked him in the head. The guy went stiff, went. And then Jeremy Horn goes, and then I go over there, and then I go check him out to make sure he's okay. And then I get out, I do the boss route, and the jumper goes, whoop. And then, I get out of the ring, and then like at that point, Monty Cox saw what I did, and he goes, he pulls me aside later, and he goes, Sam, you can't fight amateur anymore. I'm like, why not? And he's like, no more. That's it. And I was like, okay, great. Let's go make some money. Let's go. And so Pat had hooked me up with this guy named Joe Cavallaro, who was
okay, that's where we're at. All right. Here we go. That reality combat fighting, Monty Cox is tied into that. Miletich fighting, Monty Cox is tied into that. Pat Miletich tells you to go Joe Cavallaro as a manager.
Yes.
What's going on there?
I think at the time, like Monty Cox had a very full stable, from what I understand. Like, you got to understand everybody that Monty is managing. And, like, I'm not going to get any attention. Like, he had Robbie Lawler, Jens Pulver, Rich Franklin, Matt Hughes, Tim Sylvia.
Spencer
Fisher, Travis View. Travis was one of the top.
Biggest ticket seller I've ever seen.
Dude, Travis View is, like, insane.
Jeff Coran.
Rich
Clementi.
Is packed to capacity, like, and it's still, I don't know if it still is, but I imagine it. Like, anyways, Monty was like, he's like the king of the Midwest. And so Pat said, Sam, here, this new guy's coming into the game. His name's Joe Cavallaro. I want you to go with Joe Cavallaro. And I was like, well, what about Monty Cox? And then he's like, you're not, like, who the fuck are you? You know what I mean? Like you're going to get shelved. And that's the worst thing that can happen to a fighter in their career, is they get with a manager and the manager fucking shelves them, because then you get no fights. You know what I mean? And you sit on the shelf and you're doing like these stupid fucking grappling tournaments all the time, trying to like build a little bit of a name, yimmer yakking on the grappling circuit. Nobody's listening to you because MMA fighters don't give a fuck about grappling games, And so he put me, thankfully, by Pat was very wise about that. He put me with Joe Cavallaro. And Joe's like, hey, what's up, Sam? How you doing, man? He's like this guy from Boston, but he talks really fast like this.
He and Dana White worked as like at the hotel together.
They worked together at I think it's this place called the Continental in Boston or something like that. They used to be bellmen. Do you want a story about that from back in the day?
Yeah, that did.
You want to hear it?
Yeah, we have it. Yeah, for sure. It's over here.
So Dana White told me the story. I was hanging out with Dana on the set of The Ultimate Fighter. I don't know what, like I think it was like Robbie Lawler had come to visit the set of season 1, and me and Dana were hanging out. He goes, "Hey Sam," and like me and Dana hit it off. Like we've got like a good relationship, you know. Like every time I see him, it's nothing but love. Like, hey, good to see you. How you doing? Everything good? Yeah. And you know, like he'll heckle me a little bit, I'll heckle him, and then he's got to go take care of all his stuff, and then usually like I'm hanging out with my squad, so I go run off and go do whatever with them, you know. But every time I see a Dana, it's like I don't understand these fighters that were on season 1 who are like envious of the fact that he's done so good. Every time I see how good he's done, I'm happy for him. I'm like, bro, good fucking job. Like,
yeah, fuck yeah, he did it. Yeah,
like keep fucking going, dude. Don't fucking stop. Like, and so I think he can feel the sincerity of like me. Like, I'm really happy that like he's killing it. I want him to keep killing it. You know what I mean?
But dude, like, it's good for everybody. Yeah.
But there's a lot of fighters who I noticed that were on season 1 that, you know, they were supposed to be like the golden child, and they're envious and like they believe that they're entitled to some kind of money from this or something. I'm like, bro, we were doing this underground. I was paying people to let me fight them back in the day. Like, what the fuck do you mean? This guy let you live your dream, and now you want to turn around and do this because he's had some kind of success? Get the fuck out of here. You signed a contract, you fucking pussy. You know what I mean? Like, it pisses me off because I'm like, you got to live your fucking dream. And now you want to turn around and sue the guy who allowed you to do that because you feel you're entitled to some money that he made that you didn't earn? What the fuck is wrong with you, dude? Like,
yeah, you know, Chris Lytle's in that same category. He's just dude. Let me tell you something. Like what you're saying right there, it's not like you didn't know what you were getting into. You read the contract. I want everybody to make money. I want you to make more money. But to kind of go, well, let's hit rewind. That's a hard ask. Fast forward, I agree. But to hit rewind, you signed a contract.
More so than you signed a contract. You signed a contract to do what you said you love, and somebody allowed you to do that. And you want to turn around and shit on them because of that and think you're entitled to some money that you didn't fucking earn?
It's hard. It's a hard ask. Yeah, and it's your word. You know what I mean? Like, never mind. Forget the contract. You gave your word.
Dude.
Do you know what I mean? Like it's kind of, I'm 100% on the same page.
Like, where does Nate Quarry get off saying that, like, I'm going to go sue them because, like, I think I'm fucking fighter? Like, trying to fault find and look for some granule of something in the contracts. Oh, this is monopolistic practices. I'm going to go in. What the fuck is wrong with you, dude? You would have got nothing. You fucking clown. Nothing. You would have been paid shit for the rest of your life. You'd have been paying people for you to fight them. And you get a chance to live your dreams. This dude hooks you up and that's how you fucking pay him back? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, it's rough. It's a hard ask. Well, here, let's go back to yourself. Matt Freeland, you win by KO kick. Your next fight, September 13th, 2003, Next Level Fighting. I was at this. This is the first time I met you.
You remember
Josh Hendricks.
No, you remember how skinny I was back then?
Yes. Yeah. I do.
Like skinny.
Well, here going into this fight, Josh Hendricks is 5-1.
Yeah, Josh Hendricks, like, he was a big deal.
Dude, he needed like one more fight before he made it to the UFC. He was told that.
He was with the Hammer.
He occasionally trained with Hammer House. He was more with Scott Nagel.
Okay, so he was the Nagel. Okay, Nagel, yeah, okay.
Go ahead, Josh Hendricks. What do you remember about? Was that you went in as an underdog? You're in his hometown.
I like after you go through the Miletich camp and you're getting beat down. Like, mind you, I was getting knocked out 3 times a week for 6 months.
So not good. So not good.
I do not recommend this because I know, like, later in life, this is going to come back and I'm going to be like, I don't remember shit. I understand that that's in my future. But I understand also that I chose to live by the sword, so I will die by the sword. I understand that. So, like, you, as a man, you choose your path. And if you blame somebody else for the path that you choose, then you lost because you didn't make that choice. You know? So, like, dude, I got to live. But anyway, so I go in there to that fight with Josh Hendricks. And like, I remember
heavy underdog. You were a heavy underdog.
I didn't know. Like I never know whether I'm the favorite or the underdog. I don't pay attention to that because the thing about real fighters is they don't care about that underdog and who's better and who's prettier and like the MMA mathematics of this guy's got a hook and a good ground and a grounding. Am I putting you to sleep?
Oh, dude, it's fucking. I got a 2-year-old child. Yeah, okay, go ahead.
I'm interested. I'm into it. Let's go.
Hey, wait, let's go. I got a 2-year-old child. Baby? I'm way into this. Go ahead.
Man, so it's good to see you over here. What's going on there, bro?
I'm glad I could make it. I'm sorry I missed the first hour. Let's go.
Yeah. Joey, has it been an hour?
Yeah, dude.
It's been an hour.
Holy smokes.
No, Sam. The questions are loaded in a way, front loaded in order to kind of get you comfortable. And then we ease you into this. And we usually 90 minutes, 2 hours easy. And we've only covered a few fights in your career.
Oh, dude, I'll be monosyllabic. I'll just answer.
No, fuck no.
We want to hear the stories.
No. Question. Ask me the question.
Well, here, you got Josh Hendricks. What do you recall about that fight? Because that was a really big moment in your career. And I think it was unbeknownst to you at that time. But you're looking at a guy that's one fight away from the UFC. And you come in and you finish him in the first round. Very impressive.
I didn't know that.
Oh, that's a fact. Yeah, I'm spitting facts on this. I was there.
Okay.
We're not doing one word answers, Sam. We're not.
These questions, dude.
No, fuck no. We don't. We get some. We don't. That's our podcast, dude. We do. Yeah, we do. Like this would be before the UFC. Fuck no, dude.
Okay, I wanted me to just get these questions. I thought we were like,
no, absolutely not, dude.
I need to fill in the bubble before the
Here we go. Here, I'll give you a layup. Corey Fisher was a promoter. Did you get along with him?
Who's Corey Fisher?
There we go. Yeah, he was actually, he was a little blip in the radar, but he did some really cool shit. He did some really cool stuff as a promoter. Definitely.
Okay. No. Mind you, my life at that time existed of it was a 3-part routine. It was wake up at if I can at 5 or 5:30 in the morning, run 5 miles, get to the gym, do 12 rounds on the bag. This is before training even begins. Get upstairs, do an hour on the elliptical, hour on the stationary bike, get back downstairs for 9 o'clock when fundamentals kicks off. Fundamentals class, whether it's grappling or striking, get done with that. Then the team MFS guys come in for the noon training session, where it's instructing them on the things that they got to do for their fight. And you're not always able to participate, but if you get to watch, you want to sit there and kind of watch and gather and if you can get somebody to come with you on the side and come work with some other teammate, you go through that. Noon comes, get back home, chicken and broccoli, eating that, and then pass out watching fights. Wake up, call the girlfriend, tell her to go wash my clothes, and then from there, put on the stuff. 6 o'clock, fundamentals. 7 o'clock, sparring or grappling. 8 o'clock, takedowns, and then that's every day except for Saturday and Sunday. And then
I will say the conditioning of MFS was so much. There was fighters from that camp that may have not been as good as the person that they were fighting, but their conditioning made them.
You wouldn't, because you used to going literally the grappling class. I remember it would be at the top of the hour. You had to warm up and do all your stretches and crap before, because once the bell rung at the hour, you were on the mat grappling, one person. As soon as you tap them out or get done, next person, grappling, next person. You were getting smashing people, everything, And I'm telling you, Tim Sylvia was a beast on the ground. He never showed it because he's
he liked to
that reach. And you saw what he did to Jeff Munson, dude, who still to this day during that era was the man,
Yeah.
Shut him down. Yeah.
So your third fight.
Oh, Josh Hendricks. I didn't even answer it. So I get over there to the Josh Hendricks fight, and I can't remember. I think me and one of my teammates drove down there, and I remember we drive down there. It
was Brian Bresler.
Brian the Silver Bullet Bresler. He now owns a club in Cedar Rapids. It's called Woody's.
Dude, he's always managed a strip club. He bought
it though. He owns it. He's an owner. He's not no worker. He's an owner. And mind you, not only And now get this. This is the crazy thing about Woody's. You know how most strip clubs, you got to sit on your hands. You can't touch girls. You know, you got to give respect.
That's what I've heard.
Had to grab him, which is crazy. No, I was like, oh my God, is that for real? He's like, yep.
You got a what?
I know. See, it's crazy to you too. You're allowed to grab them and touch them and whatever. And they're like, and I'm like, hey, my name's Paul. That's for y'all. You know, because I always had a girlfriend back then, anyways. You know, so I couldn't really like get crazy. Anyways, so Brian, and we were part of this crew at MFS because like all the guys would come before us, Matt Hughes, Tim Sylvia, Jens Pulver, Tim Sylvia, those guys, they had a little clique. So then me and this other guy named Justin Brown, Brian Bresler, and
Brandon Adamson.
Brandon Adamson was another part of it.
Dude, wait. Let me guess. Let me guess. Go ahead. No. It's the triangular strangler. Oh, so yeah, it is. He's got more triangle submissions than anybody else in all of MMA. Joe Pearson. Holy fuck, I got it.
Joe Pearson was awesome, dude. I love Joe Pearson.
Yeah, I just named your whole crew. Fuck, dude. Why I know that is beyond me, but go ahead.
Little crew that we had together, we called ourselves G2, Generation 2. You know, because like the Generation 1 guys, they would never hang out. They were always like, I think really they were focused on their training and like they wanted to work with the top dogs, but since like they wouldn't let us in all the time, you know, so we formed our own little clique and we started like, you know, we would train with them during training sessions, but then on off hours we would train together in order to keep sharing like what we knew, you know.
Let's throw some more names out there. Rory Markham, Mike Sinisovich. I mean, you guys had some great guys. Yes.
Oh man, Rory Markham was amazing, dude. Same with Mike Sesnalevich. Mike Sesnalevich is like Mike Sesnalevich. He came after I came there, so then like, and so did Rory Markham. Rory Markham, Sherman Pendergrass.
They'd have been like more like Generation 3.
They've been like fighting now. Mike Whitehead.
Justin Eilers.
No, Justin was there before me. But like I was before all those guys over there at Miletich. As a matter of fact, I was there at Miletich when we moved from Gold's Gym to the new location in Bettendorf that we actually had to build. I was part of the team that helped build that thing out.
It's amazing that people have gone through there. So you beat Josh Hendricks by arm triangle. Your third fight is against it's against Adam Maciejewski, and it's one of the Keith Hackney's students. So what the cool part is, you're walking out of there with Tim Sylvia on your corner, and I think it was Spencer Fisher. And then on his side,
and Brian Bresler.
And Brian Bresler was there as well. Brian always traveled with you guys. And then on his side, he's got Gideon Ray and Keith Hackney.
Yeah.
That's pretty badass, dude.
It was like, and I'm telling you, Maciejewski came out there and like early in the fight, he hit me and rocked me. Like, you watch that fight?
He got dropped.
He rocked me on that first, like, he hit me a couple times, blue, just throwing heat. And I was like, I threw a head kick and I was like, the takedown. So the takedown didn't work. He sprawled nicely, you know? So then, like, I'm sitting underneath him. So automatically I pull guard. And I started thinking, all right, I got to be like Nogueira. I got to do something here. So, like, the big thing Nogueira does, if you watch him back in the days, he would find the wrist. That was his whole thing, finding the wrist. And then as soon as I found his wrist, bam, I threw up I think I tried to go for like an armbar. He tried to pull out, he fell down, and I switched it into a triangle, and I choked him out. And I got the win. It felt good. But then his whole posse, his whole team that were with him there, they started going crazy and yelling and going nuts. Like, they're all ready to fight. And I'm there, and I'm like,
Joey, these Eastern European Polacks,
yeah,
they're unbelievable. Like, they're all
out for their people.
They're all driving BMWs. All of them got tight white pants on, and their chicks are smoking hot. And dude,
I remember the Andrew Galata Riddick Bow riot. So I know how the Polish community really does get behind their fighters.
Like they stick together. They're so like I'm backstage and they're all going crazy, like getting ready to like start some stuff. And then Tim Sylvia, the guys are yelling at them, and then they're looking at me, and I'm like, "What'd I do?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "What's going on?" And then they like realize like, I like when I win a fight, I'm a very quiet guy. Like I don't really talk that much. I don't really say that much.
Yeah.
No, but like in interviews like this, obviously, like I'm talking amongst my own people. So they
no. You'll talk before the fight, but after you're very respectful.
No, I'm just quiet. Like I don't say anything. Like I'm done. Like I want to go home and like eat Nutella and fucking and watch like old fight videos of like Vanderlei Silva in like Brazil when he's soccer kicking what's his name? You know? And
Brandon,
so
wait. He soccer kicked.
He soccer kicked quite a few
Adrian
people.
Serrano.
Kondo,
Adrian Serrano.
Kondo.
It was Adrian Serrano, dude. Come on, Joe.
He soccer kicked Kondo too. He soccer kicked a lot of people.
In IVC?
Not in IVC now.
There we go, Joe.
So like I'm sitting there and I'm like, you know, if my team is gonna like go in on this fight, like I'm down, like let's go. But then I'm like, what's going on? And they could tell like I wasn't trying to like flex on them and be a dick to them. And they're like, oh no, all right, you know, they're like, he just like they were cool about it because like I was being cool about it because I wasn't like trying to like be like, you know, like looking to try to like run it up with them because I was like, what did I do?
So I can tell you at this point in my life, I've been going to live events since like 97. And my brother Jimmy, I'm like, hey, dude, why aren't you coming to these? This was his birthday gift. I got him front row tickets at this event. This is his first live event ever.
Yeah.
It's just a fucking good one, man. Yeah. I mean, you wind up on The Ultimate Fighter.
Oh my God. So he was there that day.
Fuck, dude, we were all there, dude. We didn't miss any of them. And dude, ring announcer.
That fight. You remember that whole tussle that started to ensue?
Of course.
I didn't know you were there.
Come on, bro.
You remember the guy that came out with the afro? Remember that?
They all did. His whole crew. They looked like Khabib. Like how Khabib, except for they were black, like the black like wigs. It was weird. It's the first time I ever saw it. It was weird.
I love it when people do different stuff like that because instead of like, oh, he's walking the ring. Remember this guy named Genki Sudo?
Yes, absolutely.
Dude, went to high school in Arizona.
He did?
He speaks fluent English.
I didn't, dude. I love Genki Sudo's entrances. They are sick. Remember when he kicked out his bucket head?
I liked his Dwayne Ludwig entrance. But here, we're getting off topic. Big Poppa Schnake. Do you remember BPS? That was the ring announcer.
He was amazing. I used to love listening. Hey, it's time, let's go. Yeah.
Bruce Buffer used to chastise him by the way he ring announced. Like, you're too flamboyant. You're too over the top. You shouldn't touch fighters before they fight. After Big Poppa Schnake died, Bruce Buffer stole his entire persona from Big Poppa Schnake. Yes. Monty Cox agrees with me. He said it in his interview. Dude, you look at Bruce Buffer, UFC 16. And in this corner, first off, Bruce Buffer's not a really good announcer. He's not.
What are you talking about? You don't like him?
He's evolved.
Okay. Can you do better than Bruce Buffer?
Well, here, I don't have premature ejaculation, so that disqualifies me from being a ring announcer altogether. I've never met a ring announcer that doesn't like check the boxes of premature ejaculation. I'm being serious. Yes.
Did you lose a girlfriend to a ring announcer? What's going
dude,
on,
if I lost a girlfriend to a ring announcer, I'd be in a wig right now like Bruce Jenner.
My friends, just like Schnake's one of my friends, and like I don't want to participate in like talking shit about a buddy of mine. You know what I mean? Like,
no, 100%. And dude, he's done very well for himself.
Like, I don't want to talk shit about my friend Bruce. You know,
like here. So Big Poppa Schnake's the ring announcer, crazy event. You go out to Massachusetts, the next one, you finally get to meet your manager, Joe Cavallaro, in person.
Oh my gosh, I met Joe, and like when I met Joe, I couldn't believe it. He is like everything you could envision about a guy. Like, hey, what's going on? Da-da-da-da. Like fast talking, like East Coast kind of like, you know, like with
a lot of those, even in Louisiana.
Not like Joe Cavallaro though. Joe Cavallaro is like, Sabalama, what's going on? How you doing? And like I'm telling you, like his energy is like, it's like a happy, infectious energy that is like you want him around because it feels good to have him around. Even though like I don't feel like he's putting on an act. I feel like this is genuinely who he is, you know? And he was raised in the era, I believe, of the of what's the name of what was the name? The
Whitey Bulger. Guys, yeah.
He was raised during that era, you know, and I believe he's Italian. I think he was with the Italians at the time. And like
Cavallaro, he's definitely Italian.
So I think they had like, I can't remember all the stories, but I think they had like the city was sectioned off in different ways. Like he told me the story one time, but like I remember when we were driving over there. Do you know that area in Boston where there's cobblestone as it goes down over here to like this waterfront area? And it was like a little Italy is what I think he called it or something. And there was a parking spot. And I remember when we got the parking spot, he's like, you know what, Sam, I'm gonna have to call a cab. I'm gonna take a cab home. I'm keeping the parking spot. I'm like, what? Apparently it's a big deal if you can get a parking spot in this area for some reason. He's like, we're keeping the parking spot, calling a cab. And I remember when I was over there, I went to Harvard and I was like, oh my goodness. So I wanted to find a shirt that I could wear, but they only had they had mediums and smalls at Harvard. I think they might have had a large. So I bought that medium, dude, and I put that thing on like one of those like power lifter shirts. And then I started walking like this so I would look like Bluto. You know, I was like, Joe, get us on camera, bro. Get on camera. I was like, I'm official.
Did you meet Gary Marino out there as well? I think
yes,
I think he was the matchmaker for that.
Awesome. Gary's a good dude, man. I never got to spend a lot of time with him, but like for some reason, me and all those guys out of Boston, out of the East Coast, like it's just like there's something about the energy, man. Like it just works. Like Dana, Gary, Joe, all those, like their whole crew, you know, like it's just like
good dudes.
I really liked them all, man. They were all great. They're like, you know. So I remember, like, so I meet Joe. I get done with the fight, and I was like, Joe. And so I had to, like, we had an arrangement of a percentage of my check that I had to give him. So I kept my check right away. And I wanted to give him a little bit extra. You know, he's like, no, only give me this percent. And I was like, really? You don't want anything extra? He's like, nope, that's the deal. And I was like, okay, sure. He's like, here. And then he took the percentage that I gave him and he took me out to go eat, like, pizza.
Good dude. Good. And he paid. Good dude.
Dude, but this is the thing, though. Like, I started to realize I had a friend of mine named Steve Bodie out of Los Angeles. I had another friend who was over in Las Vegas who was trying to get some kind of job done. And I guess you had to have ties to like different groups to get certain like construction job done in Vegas. So the guy goes, listen, I need you to do this construction job for me. And he goes, all right, I'm going to do this for you. But after I do that, whatever profit you make off of this job, I want 10%. And the same story. The guy took his 10%. And then the guy tried to pay him more because he made so much more money. He's like, nope. He sent the money back to him, says, don't do that. 10% is what you get. And I guess 10% is like the deal that like he made. And I was just like, damn. Like these guys are really like, East Coasters are really like, when they say something like it's very like by the, like they really like the, at least the ones that I've interacted with, it's really by that book. But if you fuck up and you don't do your part, that's when you see the fucking hounds come after you.
So there's a referee. He just did the Contender Series. He did a close with us on John Lober, Kevin McDonald.
John Lober. Oh my gosh.
He was at him. So he has that same type of vibe. I understand and can relate to that. And I'm very comfortable with that type of exchange as well. You coming from a military family, I can see it's easier. You know where they're coming from. There's no hiding it, you know?
There's no element of deceit is what I feel like. But like the other side of the coin is as beautiful it is on that side, it's just as ugly on the other side. Like if you're late.
But dude, you know that. Like you know the consequences. Like there's no surprise.
There's no like I didn't understand. You know?
No. And I prefer that. I prefer that type of system. All right. Yeah. So you actually are on the Ultimate Fighter Season 1. Joe Cavallaro makes that call for you. What's the process like?
Joe was a big part of that, man. He was a real big part of that because what they had done for the Ultimate Fighter Season 1 is they looked for the best guys in their area. And like, I was undefeated as an amateur, undefeated as a pro. I was, I don't know if I'd won some at Art of War. They gave us some belt. Like, you know, and I was part of like the top team in the area. And so they were looking at they looked at Miletich, they looked at Quest, they looked at American Kickboxing Academy, Cesar Gracie. They looked at like the big, like, you know, the powerhouses. And they were trying to see who they could recruit to try to get on that first season of The Ultimate Fighter. And thank God Joe Cavallaro came through and was able to say, hey, Dana, I got a guy that you should consider. And then, like, you know, he put in the call, but then I had to go to the tryouts and the trials. And like, I didn't only go, like, I went through it, and like, I remember going through it, and then they were like, they took us to the hospital. They did all kinds of tests on us, right? To like make sure that we didn't have any like substances or stuff. And like a lot of guys didn't make it on that first season because they were, from what I understand, ineligible due to some reason.
Is there anybody, and I'm not saying because of this reason, is there anybody that you saw at the hospital or going through like the entire process? Because John Fitch said he was on the actual airplane when he was told to depart the airplane. Who else did you recognize that didn't make the show that was up for it? Drew Fickett was right there as well.
You know what, dude? Like,
too long ago.
Like, if you weren't in my weight division, if you weren't a heavyweight or a light heavyweight, I didn't pay attention to you. I didn't give a fuck about you because, like, I didn't have to worry about you because, like, I wasn't going to fight you. So I didn't, like, and at Miletich, Pat is very, very serious about, like, at least he was back then. He's like, do not spend your time on the internet reading comments and reading stuff about yourself. He was very, at least to me and like some of the other guys.
That's
like,
wisdom.
If he cared about you, he would tell you that. He's like, he'd tell you, pay attention to the guys you're going to fight, pay attention to your division, like, and make sure you're in training. And like, dude, we were training I had a place behind Miletich that I was able to get. So there was this like store, and they had this upstairs place, which was like a loft area. And it had this one room with no door on it, right? So I went over there and asked him, like, yo, how much is it to rent? And then the guy says, and this guy's like, he's like, I don't know, it's $500 or $600 or $800. So I went and I rented it. And it's got its own fridge, got a bathroom, got this, but it's a big space. So, and like, we're literally right behind Miletich Fighting System.
Oh, wow.
So now I'm like, oh, man. And the movie Fight Club had come, like, I'd seen Fight Club. I'm like, Operation Mayhem is fucking going. So I did that. So then anytime like new fighters would come, we had a place called the Fighter's Lair. And the rules of the Fighter's Lair was, number one, you have to train. Number two, on Wednesday night, when they have the underground fights at the strip club in Iowa, you had to fight. And number three, when you left, number three, you had to pay your rent. That's it. You know, you had like, and so like, we all chipped in for rent. We all chipped in for that dial-up bullshit internet service that we had, that we were like, you know, and so people came from all over the place. And then like, anytime we'd see a mattress somewhere, we'd bring it and we'd throw it on the floor. And then all the dirty clothes, we would take it and throw it in the corner. There was like a mountain of it. And so I was dating two girls at that time at the same time. And so when they came over, I tell them, all right, wash your clothes. And then they'd wash your clothes, they'd get all the stuff ready. But like, the one rule was they could not clean the place up. It had to stay looking like a fucking bomb went off in it. And the reason why is because, like, I told them, like, guys, and there was no leader in the Fighter's Lair, but like, since I got the place, I kind of set that rule. Like, this place, like, we are here for one purpose. And if you're not here for that purpose, get the fuck out, you know? And so like, we all knew why we were there. So we were always watching fights, always train. And this is part of the reason, like, the Miletich guys ended up like really like excelling, because our life was really fighting in every capacity. Does that make sense?
It does, but let's talk about the process for the Ultimate Fighter. When do you know that you made the show? So I get a call and they tell me, hey, we need you to fly out to Vegas this weekend. And like out of the blue. And I'm like, for what? And they're like, we need you to go out. And then Joe calls me. He's like, Sam, I got a ticket to Vegas. I'm like, got it. So I told my job, hey guys, I got to go to Vegas. They're like, all right, sure, whatever. Like, they knew how it worked by then, you know? And so I got on the plane, go to Vegas. So when we went to Vegas, this is where I think a lot of people fell out on the show. They took us over there to do medical exams and to do testing and to do training and all kinds of other stuff. But you had to stay in your hotel room for an entire week and you could not leave it. And you know as well as I know, a lot of these fighters that are rock stars, you're not going to tell them when they can and can't fucking leave their hotel room.
Right.
But me, I was like, so I get to the hotel room and I'm looking at this hotel room and I'm like, fuck, I got to be here for a week. So since I'm stuck there for a week, I start trying to like get into like TV shows, and then I'd move the beds over across the floor. I turn the heat on all the way and I'd start training because I can't get out of training, because if I get out of training, when I get back to Miletich, I know I'm going to get punished. Just not punished like they're going to come and like look for me, but like
that tax.
I'm going to they're not like the only reason, let me explain this about Miletich, because you made this comment earlier and I'm going to make it very clear. At Miletich, we never kicked anybody out. You fell out. It's like the Navy SEALs. You fell out. We didn't kick you out. And the reason why is because on Wednesday night sparring, it's knockout Wednesdays. We are literally trying to knock at least that's how it was for me and the way it was explained. And I'm literally looking around and like the thing is, you figure out who's who in the gym by seeing who they go for. And I was always trying to go after the killers in the gym who would kill me because I knew that iron sharpens iron. That's why I would spar with Tim Sylvia. And then I turn around and get my ass beat by Drew McFedricks. Then I would go I'd go spar with
Tony
Mike
Frickland. Yeah. Huh? Tony Frickland. There's another stud.
Well, no, Tony wasn't in my weight division. So I had a lot of, I had respect for Tony and Jens and those guys and whatnot. But I want the light heavyweights and heavyweights because those are the killers that I'm going to be measuring myself against. Like if I go there and I spar with somebody who's lighter than me, it's like, I mean, it'll be like, what the fuck are you doing?
Okay. Wow.
Like, are you trying? Like, what the fuck are you doing sparring with these guys? Because like I said, that's where you start to see who's who. Because you see some big guy going over there trying to spar some little guy, you're like, are you here to train and fight, or are you here to fuck around and waste our time? And like it's really serious. So like I'm always looking, and like the thing is you're looking for the guy who's gonna knock you out and fucking finish you. So because that's the only way that you maintain those levels, So
the Ultimate Fighter, you don't leave your hotel room
for a week, and I'm sitting there sweating, turning this thing on, training, using all the towels and getting him to send more towels, and like
that's a good test. They wanted to make sure you were going to be able to stay in the fighter house. That cabin fever wasn't going to fuck you up. I mean, that's what I think that was.
You were peeking your head out the door?
Fuck no, bro. Nah, bro. Like a big thing about me is like, look, when I make a deal, that's it.
That's fair.
So
was there a certain question that was asked when you go, oh, I nailed that one, I got this?
I didn't know until the last minute that like I had made it on the show. The moment that I think I kind of had a good feeling that I made it was when I had already met Dana White 2 times before I'd met him that 3rd time. They brought me to his office. They opened the door and we're going to introduce you now to the president of the UFC. They open the door and Dana walks in and goes, I'm Dana White. And I'm like, and I'm thinking in my head, dude, we already met. But I was like, but still, like, it's respect, So I was like, nice to meet you, Dana. So excited to be here. Thank you for having me. Like, for real. And I was, And so it was like, welcome to the Ultimate, or something like that. I can't remember, but it's something like that. But like the thing I tell people all the time is like, people go, is Dana White a dick? Is he an asshole? Is he a dick? Is he a this? Is he a that? And I'm like, he's not a dick. He's not an asshole. The thing about Dana is there's no filter between his brain and his mouth. He's telling you what he knows to be the truth in his mind at that moment. And if he thinks you fucking suck and you're going to get kicked out of somewhere, he's going to fucking tell you the truth. And people think that, he's being insensitive and he's being an ass. No, he's being honest. You don't like the fucking honesty. Let's be real about this.
So did you have to submit a video, or was it just Joe Cavallaro fronting for you?
No. I had to submit a video, just like everybody else. I wonder if I still have it. You know who shot that video for me? This guy named Dan the Wolfman shot that video for me. And did on a little camcorder thing back in. I was doing this like the iPhone, the camcorder, the handheld camcorder with the little.
Just so everybody at home, Dan the Wolfman used to write romance stories. Interesting guy. Interesting. He would be a good interview.
Dan the Wolfman is awesome. I mean, like, he's a character, dude. He's
interesting guy.
He's not your normal dude, and that's what makes him so interesting.
He's a little off. So before you got there, did you know that you guys were supposed to be fighting, or did you think you were just going for like a reality show? Because they kind of proposed that. I think in the first episode, like, oh, you're going to be a fucking fighter? That famous speech that Dana gave.
So the way that it worked was like the first, initially we were all brought there under the idea that it was going to be a reality show where there's contests and competitions. And then at the end, the top 2 people who make it will fight in the UFC. But then, the ratings weren't going anywhere, and like commentary, I think, was blowing up on this.
Wait a minute. Wait, that's what they say. But this thing was filmed in when? November? December?
June, July?
Okay, so it didn't air until January.
We didn't know.
What I'm saying is they bullshitted you guys. Like, it's as plain as day.
It could have been that. It could have been that the Fertitas, like, were looking at their investment fucking go up in flames. Like, I don't know what it was.
Right. So Joey, here's the thing about the Ultimate Fighter season 1. Anytime somebody lost, they left the house.
Right.
So they couldn't stick around. So June or July, they film it. So in June 10th, 2004, Joe Cavallaro is on the internet going, hey, Sam Hoger needs a fight. His opponent just dropped out. And then boom, crickets. It's because you got the call. You go to the Ultimate Fighter. At the Ultimate Fighter, you guys don't even have a fight on the right here. The finale is in April 9th of 2005. So you're looking like a full year. So this guy does the process, does the filming, and then isn't allowed to ply his trade. Were they paying you for sitting on the shelf before the Ultimate Fighter, like the finale? Well, all the let me rephrase this so I sound coherent. It's fucking late, and I got a 2-year-old child. You guys start filming in June. You got to wait almost an entire year to get to the finale. Episodes are dropping. While these episodes are dropping, is the UFC paying you?
Oh, no. Come
on.
Oh,
My God.
Like, be honest with me, though. What are they going to pay us with? Sandwiches? Like, they were $22 million in debt. Where are they going to pay us? Where are you going to get the money? Where are we going to get the money? Like,
so think about this.
Well, the ratings were taken off. I mean, the ratings were doing really good.
Ratings were good.
And they bought the airtime, which means they got to sell the commercial time. So they were making money at this time.
Fact. You fail to understand. Like,
yeah.
Let me put this in perspective what Dana White and the Fertitas were facing. What's the most you've been in debt in your entire life? Okay, don't even tell me. I'm just going to throw numbers. Have you ever been $10,000 in debt?
That'd be about it, yeah.
Okay, have you ever been 20,000?
No.
Have you ever
not unless you count a mortgage, no.
Have you ever been $22 million in debt?
I have not. Hey, I hope to not be, yeah.
Yeah, that would suck.
So how did you survive for 6 months between the show? Yeah. Were you teaching classes at Miletich? Like, how did you feed yourself?
No. Miletich would never pay us to teach classes. That's an honor if you even get the ability to do it. No, the way that I was able to make money back then is like, by the grace of God, I had a job at this place called Great Western Supply. It was a place that's still there in the Quad Cities. It's owned by Colin Carney. And I was one of the salesmen at Great Western Supply. And Colin allowed me to work. And then as soon as I got off of work, I could go over to training over at Miletich down by the river in Bentonville.
All right. So Joey, part of the vetting process, which to me is incredibly interesting, you got guys sitting on a shelf for a year. It's a hard thing.
Yeah.
That also can't disclose what took place.
Yeah. No, I know. When Tim Crador was on the show, he couldn't tell us what happened. Yeah, you got to keep your mouth shut the whole time.
So like, especially on the first one, dude, that's make or break UFC. If you guys have just said, hey, screw it, we're spilling the beans, you're not paying us, we're sitting on the shelf. But guys today would do that.
I got another question.
Yeah, I mean, if guys back in season 4 and 5 were leaking stuff on Sherdog, remember that?
Yeah.
Hey, I got a question. So you spent a couple of months on television. Did you get your SAG card out of that?
No, I got my SAG card
doing
lines with De Niro in the movie Grudge Match. Me and Robert De Niro did lines in that movie. That's where I got my SAG.
Very cool.
Wow. So when you guys got there, did you know, like, if you didn't know you were fighting, but if you failed like one of those strategic games, did you know you were leaving the house?
During the time, like, it's literally like, think about this. This show is just like any show is just a slot of time. And in that slot of time, you have to make the most interesting, compelling thing that you can make possible. Those writers on the show who were trying to figure out these challenges and stuff like that, I had no idea. Like, this was just and I think most of us had the same mindset. All we wanted to do was fight in the UFC because that was like That's the Olympics of mixed martial arts. Yeah. There was them and Pride. Remember that?
Oh, yep. Come on, bro. Pride rules. Let's talk about the coaches. You get there. Did you know who the coaches were before you got there, or did you find out when you arrived?
I found out when I was there, but like I had a friendship with Chuck Liddell before the show. Like I'd seen him at fights, and we had there was like friendship there. And I remember one time he invited me to this party at this place called on that open field at the Mandalay Bay by the water thing that they got over there. And they had these beautiful like king size mattresses with these domes over it. And everybody came to, I think it was after the Vernon White fight, a whole ton of people came out there to party. And there were these strippers and dancers and girls, and Chuck Liddell sitting there drinking on the bed. And like, I'm talking to these chicks. And like, I think Alex Karalexis might have been there. And like, we were like, it was insane. But like Chuck and I had that friendship before. And like, every time I saw him, I'm like, Chuck, what's up? He's like, you know how Chuck is like, oh, hey, what's going on? So like, I'd see, so by the time it came time for the show, I got picked to be on his team, which was great.
Marc Laimon, what was your opinion of him as a coach?
Oh, he's a good coach, dude. Like he's very, very thorough. He tries to make sure, like from his coaching, when I saw him coaching, like one of the things that he really like cleaned up on my game was the half guard. He is very, very like, he over explains things to the point that he made sure that like if you're paying attention, if you're being a fucking goofball, then you're not gonna get it. But he over explains things to such a degree that it sticks with you. Like it doesn't even stay in the short term, it goes to the long term.
He's a brilliant problem solver, man.
Yeah. Marc Laimon is amazing. I'm surprised he sold Cobra Kai, but I guess he sold that and he started Team Takedown. And
dude,
then
he's in Milwaukee. He's in Milwaukee right now.
I don't know what he's doing. How's he doing?
He's doing real good. I think his last black belt met Giancarlo. He's doing good, but I just don't think that the people in general understand like what kind of gift it is for being, being one of his students. I mean, he had a travel gym in Vegas.
You've got to understand though, the greats in this world don't get their recognition typically until when?
Later, after death.
Until they're dead,
What about Fairtex? What did you think of Fairtex?
Oh, he was fun. Oh, you go kangaroo robot. That's what he would call Josh Koscheck, the kangaroo robot, because Josh moved like this, instead of like kangaroo. And then like he would always, Ganyao was the guy's name.
Yeah, Ganyao Fairtex.
He was funny, man. I used to love like, kick, block, wow. Like he's great. He's like, do I think now, mind you, my striking trainer is Floyd Mayweather Senior. So I'm used to like, constantly doing the reactions and standing in there. And like, that's what, like, when I finally turned pro, I would train under Mayweather when I'd go to Vegas. And this was back when Mayweather was with Top Rank, when he was training De La Hoya, when De La Hoya was fighting against Fernando Vargas. Remember that?
Oh, yeah, dude, of course. I lost money on that one.
So when I met Mayweather the first time at the Top Rank gym, which was before my Bobby Southworth fight, I needed to go in and get some like hands training in there. And I don't know what was going on, but I knew that Mayweather was at Top Rank. So I went over to Top Rank, in the hopes of being able to meet him, because he was, I'm Hispanic. So De La Hoya is Hispanic. So I wanted to meet the guy who was training the man in the boxing world at the time who was Hispanic, So I get over there and I meet Floyd Mayweather Senior. And he's like, who are you? And he's like, what do you want? Like, and I'm like, Mr. Mayweather, would you hold pads for me? Can I work with you a little bit? Can I? And he goes, and then I go, how much would it cost for me to do that? You know what he said to me back then?
What?
2000 something, right? He goes, $500. I was like, okay. So like I had a sponsor of mine, Gene Johannan from Johannan Productions. He's a friend of mine from Louisiana. He was sponsoring me and he gave me like, $16,000 to go ahead and like get ready for this fight. And so I said, okay, deal. So, I opened my wallet. I think I had like $2,000 in there. I took out 500 and I gave it to him right away. And like, you should have seen his face when I gave it to him. He goes, let's go. And so then like, he goes, come here,
champ. Let's go, champ.
Yeah, let's go, champ.
I never think of it like that. I didn't think of it like that, but it's like, let's go. So then so get this. This is what Floyd Mayweather does to you.
You know what, dude? That's smart. That's really smart. Fuck it, dude. You're investing in yourself at this point. Go ahead.
the way that I see it is like whenever God has me on a path in life, I don't focus on the money. I focus on what he has me doing. You know what I mean? And it's like money is just there to facilitate what he has you doing when you're on his path. Does that make sense? Yeah. Because at the end of the day, okay, I'm going to give all your listeners some wisdom. Are you ready?
That's it.
After I tell you this, you cannot unhear what I'm about to say. You ready for this?
Yes, yeah.
Everything in life is designed to expire.
Shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
The only things that are forever are the love of God and the love of family. Outside of that, everything goes to zero. Everything. So life happens in seasons. And within those seasons, you have a limited amount of time to try to capture everything you can out of those seasons before it ends. And if you don't learn and capture the wisdom within those seasons, life is going to continue to punish you harder and harder and harder until you finally learn those lessons. And then you're able to go ahead and move to your next season successfully. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, yeah, I had the money. So I was like, right away, boom, what's up? He's like, okay, let's go. So it gets me in front of a mirror, puts me in front of this mirror. And for 2 hours, he literally had me throwing jab, cross, no, uppercut, no, hook. Or no, I'm sorry, no. Hook, cross. 2 hours I sat in front of that mirror. And he'd sit there and he'd walk around, he'd talk with his friends, he'd come back, he'd look at me, correct something, go, stay. And like a Shaolin monk, I was going to stay there until like whenever, you know? After 2 hours of throwing hook, cross, he comes back and he puts a jab in there, right? So that's 3, 2, 1, right? I'm still sitting there doing that. Then it's like, then it's 3, 2, 1, 1. Oh my God, I still got a little something there.
Bro.
So then after 2 hours, he then gets the pads. And then he's like, Jeff. And he still is an old man. Whack, he'd hit me. He's so fast.
Yeah, he was fast.
He's like, block, whack. And I'd be like, come on, let's go. Like, Jeff, he move out, whack. Like, dude, he will sit right in front of you, put his nose on your head, and you'll still miss him. And he'll smack you. And so, like I started getting my reactions down a little bit with him. At the end of the training session, this is what he got me with. He goes like this. He goes, how much money you got in your wallet? I'm like, I don't know. Got a little something. So I look in there. I don't know what I had left. I had some money in there though, right? I think I had a couple G's. I don't know, but I had something in there. This is back when you carried cash because you want to be able to pull cash for stuff, you know? Nobody fucking carries cash now. But like, so unless you're a fucking bozo. But like, so I had the cash in there. And so I'm like, he's like, all right. He looks in the wallet and he goes, I'll bet you I can do 50 pull-ups. I look at him, I'm like, no way in hell this old man's gonna be able to do no 50 pull-ups. He's like, I was like, he's like, you want to bet? And I'm like, it's like everything in your wallet. I'm like, deal. You know, we dapped up, and he goes, what? He kept his big jacket on. He had his little hat on, and he hangs on the bar, dead hang, right? Because you know how you can call somebody out if they're doing bullshit pull-ups like this, right? Dead hang. Pulls all the way up. Says, what number's that? You go, 1. All the way down. He goes, keep counting. 2.
Come on, dude.
That's ridiculous.
Well, come on, man.
All of a sudden, we get to like 27. And then he goes like this. And he goes, hey, fix my hat. I'm like, what? Fix my hat. Move to the left. No, to the right. To the left, to the right. Okay. Keep counting. 38, whatever, 45, 50. And he gets up. He goes, give me that money. I go, fuck. I was like, I have never, like, you would never expect this old man. He hit the pull-ups and paused and looked at you like you just fucked up, you know? Yep. I was like, dude. And it's not bullshit pull-ups where it's like this. Like, you can call them out like, oh, your chin didn't go high enough. Oh, you didn't go, you no, dead hang, freeze.
Bro, those Mayweathers,
they're different.
Dude, they're pescatarians. They don't drink. They don't smoke. They got like that Muslim type discipline when it comes to like putting things into their body. Yeah.
I couldn't believe it, dude. He did that and he cleaned my wallet out. And he's like, then afterwards, he's like, hey, I'll buy you lunch with your own money. So we went over to like the New Orleans, I think, and we went downstairs and ate at this like super plush buffet that they had over there.
I tell you what, man, lunch with Senior, fuck, dude. That
I'd pay $2,000 for that.
100%.
No,
and the story?
That was $500. So then I came back the next day, and I was like, He's like, hey, he's like, hey, I'm like, hey, can we keep it going? He goes, $500. And I'm like, boom. I had the money in my wallet. I gave it to him right away. I was like, let's go. So again, 2 hours, this, that, he changed up some stuff. And then the next day, $500. Again, gave it to him. So then after I'd done that 4 or 5 times, I came back and then he's finally like, okay, you've given me enough money. Let's train. And so then we started working and we built a friendship out from there. And we've been friends ever since.
You know, man, it's also respect. Kind of like with Sylvia and all those guys. No, he just keeps coming back and he's good. All right, we're good now. Yep. That's good shit, dude. You took care of him.
I wasn't gonna say no to train with De La Hoya's like trainer at the time.
Oh, of course.
Dude, like remember that fight for that Oscar De La Hoya had with Fernando Vargas?
Absolutely.
Phenomenal.
Vargas was amazing. De La Hoya was amazing. Vargas was that new, young, hungry kid from El Barrio, like ready to go.
A little bit of Winstrol, yeah.
Dude, what?
He tested positive for Winstrol after the fight. He had a little bit of Winstrol. Yeah, he went a little crazy.
Winstrol. Yeah, it's true.
Dude, who cares about that? Why do people care about that? It's like, dude, no, because you got to understand, I'm from the era where we didn't care what you took. We wanted to see the best fighter. Like these people are like, oh, they're on creatine and they're on multivitamin. They take Flintstone vitamin. They take.
I flew to Japan to watch Pride. I like juiced up fighters. I'm not talking shit.
If you're a fighter and you're willing to go ahead and put yourself at risk like that to try to give the best performance of your life, God bless you. You should be able to do that.
I agree.
Let's talk about the boxing coach, Peter Welch.
Peter, what about?
Well, you've given your opinion on Marc Laimon, Ganyao Fairtex. Peter, how was Peter as a coach?
As a coach, Peter's good. Yeah, he's good. Like Peter's a very very sharp. You know what I mean? Very sharp coach. You know what I mean? And he's he's good. But like I didn't get to spend a lot of time with him. You know, but like the thing is like if Peter Welch likes you, like he really like he'll focus in on you and he's definitely like he's a very sharp teacher. You know what I mean?
Okay. Did he not key on you then? Is that what you're saying?
We keyed in a little bit at the beginning, but then we kind of fell out a little bit towards the end because he was focusing more, I guess. Like Forrest was more the guy I think he was focusing on towards the end, you know? And like, no, but I mean, he's very sharp and like, you know, and like he's friends actually with Joe Cav and with Dana, you know? And like, you know, he runs a great boxing program over there in Boston, but like initially, I think he keyed in on me initially, but then towards the end, like, you know, Forrest, I think they built a better relationship, and that was more of like what they had. You know, I get it. You know, you build relationships with people. You know what I mean? It's funny because I built a relationship with Team Couture, you know, more so than I had with Team Liddell, if you remember the show.
Yep. Yeah. So the coaches pick Liddell and Couture pick. You're the 4th pick. Josh Rafferty, Jason Thacker are the last to be picked. Jason Thacker is kind of one of those individuals that he's like in hiding because of the show.
The show broke him.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
I think the Ultimate Fighter's broken a bunch of people. Not just Thacker.
I think that Thacker, like, I think he just signed up to try something new, and I think he was very sincere in his attempt to do that. And like, I think, unfortunately, like, you know, I was told this by somebody else. This was kind of like a conspiracy theory that the reason they had brought Thacker in and not any of the people like Dennis Kang or like who was killing people at the time.
Kang said no.
And well, there was Dennis Kang. There was this blonde guy too who fought Forrest first time in the UFC. What's his name? He's a buddy of mine too. He was another like super. And then you know, these were like big time Canadians that were doing good. But I didn't know that Dennis Kang said no. Dennis Kang said no?
Yeah, he wanted to be in Pride. He's like, no. He's like, the contract sucked. It was worse than I was getting. He's like, they even tried to like force me into it. Yeah, dude, our Dennis Kang interviews are phenomenal.
What did Dennis Kang? So wait, that's why he said no to it, huh? Does he regret it?
Yeah, he said the contract sucked. He's like, dude, I don't even want to fight here anyway. I want to fight in Pride. He's like, I want to be a Pride fighter. I want to be a UFC fighter.
I bet you he regrets that now.
You know what? I don't know. He did real well. He did well for himself.
Yeah, Dennis Kang was awesome, dude. But like, so one of the I don't know if it was one of the producers or somebody who had told me this, that they wanted somebody to win who was American. And the way that they would ensure that is by bringing in the person from Canada to be someone who had little to no chance to win. So Jason Thacker was like, you know, he should be celebrated as a hero over there in Canada because he took No, think about it. He took it like he's literally the guy who's been brought in out of the dark to lose, and he still went in there and fought, even though he knew he went into the dark to try to and now look at the success that we have from it. And now people are shitting on him because producers decided that they wanted an American to go ahead and win this. Like,
dude, they really, like, I even think Marc Laimon fell into that category. It's like they turned the volume up in a way to where Bobby Southworth, I believe, got served legal work because as these shows would kind of roll out, Bobby would go online and say, the edit monster didn't show this. They didn't show this. This is what they're doing. They took this from this date and rewound it and put it on this date. And I believe the UFC sent them legal work. Like, he was furious about the editing of The Ultimate Fighter Season 1.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, like, it sucks, like how a lot of us were portrayed. I mean, hey, I'm the thief, right? I'm the bad guy, right?
Yeah.
Like, but I mean, the thing that I understand is that, like, number one, when you're on TV, the point of making TV is to make it what?
Entertaining.
Entertaining.
And if it's not entertaining, are you going to watch it?
No.
Then you're not doing your job.
Yeah, I thought Koscheck and Southworth, it's wild, especially like in episode 6, Lieben is being called a fatherless bastard by Southworth, and Southworth being adopted himself. But as that all rolled out, like, that was just bedlam. It was fucking chaos in that house.
I got one question. Was it entertaining?
It was entertaining.
Are you not entertained?
We were entertained.
Dude, it flipped like
welcome.
Dude, I remember getting a phone call from my buddy. It's a big pro wrestling guy. Like, they just took a heel in Lieben and just made Lieben the good guy in one episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, were you not entertained?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Now, tell me, what is the question that came to your mind right now? Was it about the training and the punching and who hit the hardest? And
it's drama.
Who sparred the fastest and whose coach thought what about did this? No. What was your question? It was about the what?
The drama.
Yeah.
Do you see how we saved this ship?
Oh,
absolutely,
dude, big time.
That was the Ultimate Fighter Season 1. The point of this was to see my friends Dana White and the Fertittas and get them the $22 million back so we can have the sport that we have today.
This is like, if you look at not people, but moments, the top 5 moments, and a person falls in this category of UFC history, obviously UFC 1, SEG.
Yeah, oh, man.
I mean, obviously, that's number 1.
Step 4 Entertainment Group.
Okay. Zuffa purchasing 7-4 Entertainment Group, number 2. Right? Number 3, The Ultimate Fighter Season 1. Number 4, Modern MMA, John Peretti, I think falls in number 4 and 5. You can argue weight classes and gloves and stuff like that. But the top 4 is John Peretti, Ultimate Fighter Season 1, Zuffa, SEG in reverse order.
Yeah.
Ever in the history of the sport. And anything coming in between those, they're going to wind up at number 5. They're not going to wind up that top 4 modern day mixed martial arts on forward or on behind that. You're not going to change those. The modern era, Ultimate Fighter, Zuffa, SEG. That's it. Top 4, period.
It's true. The Ultimate Fighter was more important than whatever Conor McGregor did for the sport.
Not even close. Not even close. Yeah, blows it out of the water.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing about it is that now we all get to share in what is becoming the world's biggest sport in history.
Yeah.
This sport is about to take over the world because as men, it is the one thing that registers inside of us, which is that fighting instinct. Because you were doing this since you were a little sperm coming out of your father's penis, trying to get all the way over there to that egg, fighting against billions of other little sperm, trying to go ahead and become a human being. It is the most natural thing inside of it.
Sam, you going into this, I think, was a lot more strategic and mature. I'd say not strategic, we'll call it mature, because the mature thing to do is just go, wait, if I'm getting TV time, you're going to get to know me. I got to stick around. You waited. You waited, and you got the training. You got the reps in. You also were able to kind of scout people. Season 9, you're accused of stealing. It appears you're being bullied by Bobby Southworth and Josh Koscheck and those guys. What appeared on TV and what appeared in the house, how different was it?
No, I mean, it was pretty accurate, you know.
Oh, it was.
It was like in that capacity, like my team didn't like me that much, you know, they didn't. And like, honestly, I don't blame them because you get the vibe, like you can feel my personality now versus my personality when on that show. On the show, I'm very like, I'm thinking like, how are we going to go ahead? Because my whole mindset when I was in there is like, what are we going to do to get to the UFC? That's my goal. I want to fight in the UFC, you know?
If I may interject, you might be the only guy with a college education that's a participant on the show. Forrest, I think he got junior college.
Koscheck was an All-American 3 times.
I stand corrected.
Yeah.
I might have been the only one going for an MBA at the time, but like, yeah. But no,
wait, let me just quantify. You might be the only guy in college, not as an athlete,
right?
You know,
that is like different. That is different.
You were there to study.
Yeah,
good call, Joey.
So when I went in there with the mindset though that like I'm here to try to make it into the UFC, like I understood like there was a time when I think like what's the name? Leben was drinking and he destroyed the house and went crazy and like, you know, and everybody was like, oh my gosh, they were all shocked. And like, I started seeing like, you know, these people doing a lot of like foolish things. And at that point I started trying to like plot like, okay, what am I going to do? How am I going to do this best in order to get me to my goal? Because my goal at the end of the day was all I wanted to do was to what? Fight in the what? So that was a kid. That's it. And so like, the thing that I understood is that we had these meetings where they would literally sit around on couches and tell us, guys, you're not giving us enough material. Nobody wants to see you guys in the gym punching bags. You guys need to start doing something. And so then that's when a lot of the antics started coming out, if you notice in the later episodes, because we were having meetings like sometimes twice a week where they're telling us, guys, you're not giving us anything to record.
Leben answered the call.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Leave it, and dude, leave like.
Hey, did you think that the deck was kind of stacked in Leben's favor?
No,
the Jeff Rafferty told me that. Jeff Rafferty
brought him back and gave him a second chance.
No, he got it. That came legit because Nate Corey got
injured.
Got injured. That was legit. There was no.
Where would you guys go after you lost?
I don't know. I never went to the loser house,
dude,
because I was there for the last day. I was on every episode, baby.
Oh, you're right. You're Forrest Griffin, and you was the last. Oh shit!
You got to use that little brain, baby. Like,
so where would they go? Did they ever tell you?
Here, if I could impart a piece of wisdom, just another one, little one. You never want to be the person who outshines the master.
Okay.
And who is the master?
The power. That's rule number 1. Now, who was the master entertainer, like train wreck in there?
Oh, Leben.
Do I want to outshine that guy?
Oh God, no. Oh,
okay. So what do you do in order to make sure that you're able to go ahead and continue getting the training, continue getting the fighting, and continuing to put yourself in position? You make sure that you do just enough that you're controversial, but you don't outshine the what?
That's fucking Machiavellian.
Whoa, and you're right. You're right.
Dude, but you got to understand who you're talking to. I'm a political science major.
Yeah.
This is the way that I think, you know? And the thing is like, why was I thinking this way? Because like, I want to fight in the what?
Ultimate Fighting Championship, yeah.
And I want to see my friends, Dana White and the Fertitas, do what?
Yeah.
I want to see them do good. Like,
so your episode 12 aired November 3rd, 2004. You're listed as 7-0, Forrest Griffin 9-2. This is your first loss ever in the sport of mixed martial arts.
Oh, no. That's not true. I lost every day at Miletich, dude.
That's fair.
I lost every day.
I'll take that.
We have Tim Sylvia, we got Justin Eilers, we got Mike Sesnalevich, we got Ben Roth. I lost every day over there. But like I said, like when you're in that mind state of being a real fighter, you don't care about winning or losing as much as you care about I want to what.
Yeah.
I want to, and who do I? And if you're a real fighter, you are looking for the baddest killers in the world in order to try to get them to get you. So then when they beat you, now I know who I can keep going with to keep getting what. That was the Miletich mindset. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
No, but yeah, no. Forrest got, he got the stoppage in that fight. But wait, the first round, I completely dominated and beat his ass. The second round, he came out and he got the stoppage. He did a good job. He listened to the game plan and executed. And hats off.
So Joey, think about
my
this.
First real loss though was when I fought Stephan Bonner. That was because I had a camp, I trained, I was at Miletich, I was getting ready. This wasn't like I'm fighting some exhibition fight on some little show, you know what I mean? Or not little show, the biggest show that ever happened, right? But my first loss was when I fought Stephan Bonner after I beat Bobby Southworth in the finale, and then I had to fight Stephan. That was my first loss. And Stephan, man, he was like a wrecking ball.
So prior to you going on this reality show, and then after it's filming, the recognition that you're getting at shows, walking down the street, because I saw you at several shows, XFO, you'd show up there occasionally, Extreme Challenges. Was it surprising to you how often you'd get recognized?
No, because back at LSU, I was always known as what? Sam, the weird cage fighter guy. So everybody would always point me out there. But the thing that surprised me though was I thought when I was getting recognized, I always thought in my head I would be some cocky dickhead asshole like the superstars are, you know what I mean? But I wasn't. I was I would stop and talk to everybody and yo, I found that I enjoyed showing people the same love that they were showing me, as opposed to being like Kanye West, too hot to try, And I enjoyed that. And so I think people can see that I sincerely enjoy the energy that they bring. And I made a lot of those fans are now my friends,
That's cool. Yeah, I respect that. What kind of time frame did they give you between you're talking about November is the airing of the show, and then April 9th, 2005, you're fighting Bobby Southworth. So that's still a big chunk of time that you're not allowed to fight.
Yeah.
So how much time in between you being notified of the Ultimate Fighter finale and the season wrap up?
I don't know. I can't remember, but I remember at one point I didn't even think I was going to be on the finale because I thought it was just going to be the two guys who won it, And I thought they were going to build it out with other UFC fighters, so I didn't even think I was going to be on it, So then Joe Cav calls and goes, "Hey Sam, you're on the finale." I'm like, "What? I'm 260 pounds."
Yeah, there was a rumor that you had to lose 80 pounds in 5 weeks.
He's like, "You need to get down to 205," and I'm like, "Okay, then who am I fighting?" He goes, "Bobby Southworth." I'm like, "Done, dude." But that shit, I was so mad at Bobby for being so such a heckler on the show to me, But now I love Bobby. Bobby and me, we're super buddy now. But back on the show, it's the guy that you grew up with back when you were a kid. You guys were probably best friends the whole time, but once you finally live together, you guys can't get along. You know what I mean? But I found that afterwards, a relationship now that I have with him is I love the guy, he's great, but we can't live together. We can't do that. We can't be in the same place living because I think a lot of it is whenever somebody exudes a real alpha energy, and I walk in the room, I know I'm the real alpha in this fucking room. At least when it comes, that was my mindset when I used to fight. Now I don't give a fuck about that. But
right.
Back when I used to fight, I used to think no, I'm that guy. Who the fuck are you? You know what I mean? And so it's a very competitive, contentious kind of that energy. When you have a person who's older, and I'm also older he is. Well, he's a little older than me, but these other guys were much younger than him and would kind of look up to Bobby in a way as their leader. And I was like, fuck that, dude. I was like, bro, you're talking to the Ronin right now. You're not talking to the fucking. I'm not a samurai. You're not my shogun.
So one of the very unique things, and we're wrapping up, Sam. We've taken a shitload of your time.
Come on, let's keep going. Don't be scared. Let's go.
I'm cool.
I got questions.
So, one of the most unique things about Bobby Southworth is he was very vocal. Even I believe, I do not know this for a fact, that he received legal work to shut up about his commentary about the episodes. So pre-fight interview, Bobby Southworth as a person is a piece of trash. That's your comment. Do you know what Bobby Southworth's pre-fight interview, what he said?
What?
They never aired it.
I don't know what he said.
Yeah, they never aired it. So in other words, whatever he said, like I think it was so contentious, and his relationship with UFC was so awful. I think honestly they just wanted to get him in and out. And
they want to get him beat.
In truth be told, Sam, I'm not trying to be rude here. I think in my head you're the underdog going into this fight.
I was like, if you look at there's this thing called MMA Weekly. It's a website.
Oh yeah, of course.
That a friend of, like, you had to be like into the know back in the day to know about MMA.
I knew the guy that ran that site. He lived in Japan next to my brother, a Mormon guy.
He passed away. What's his name?
Did he really? Oh, no. You're talking about the guy who ran the podcast that was on that website. Goldberg, or not Goldberg. No. He was a commentator for the UFC.
Dude, he was so awesome.
He died in a car accident. Yeah.
So they posted
Joey, Google it. Google it. It's gonna drive me up a fucking wall. Go ahead.
Okay.
They posted the odds on MMA Weekly, and like Pat had always told us, do not look at that and don't do it, whatever. And so, like, obviously I didn't do it because fucking Pat said so. You know, he's the leader. So like after the fight was done, though, I'm allowed to go back and look at this stuff. So I go back and I look at it, and I was like, they thought I was gonna lose. And like then I started thinking about the episodes and how they presented me and like how they edited me and like how I was like the way they presented me was like I was like this snobby, entitled, rich kid politician who like kind of like, you know, Machiavelli'd his way through the fight world. And it's like just like Josh Hendricks back in the day when I fought him, like when I don't present myself as a tough guy. I never do. I'm affable, I'm talk, I'm funny, I'm friendly. You know, you'll never get the vibe that I'm a tough guy.
I agree with that.
Until the action starts going. Then it's fucking on. And then you get to like my Hispanic side starts coming out. And then it's like it's war. You know, and it's like, but like, I don't like living under that kind of like attitude where you're like angry and tough and mad, and that does nothing for me. So like, I can understand how people would have imagined that I was soft because I was educated, because of the way that I presented myself, like, you know, like a politician, like they said, because I was playing the game.
Well, you were running into cannon fodder. You weren't cannon fodder. You know what I mean? It's like you're a strategist, which is what you're supposed to be.
But the thing is like most people, like I understand that most people, like they only look at like what's in front of them. And the problem with that is you have to have more consideration for others that are involved with it. And the problem is if you only look at what's in front of you, you're going to miss out on what's going on around you, which is the real thing you need to be concerned about.
Joe, you watched the Ultimate Fighter Season 1 reunion.
I did.
What was
the eerie moment? Jesus, 3 minutes into it, Stephan Bonnar walks into the room and says, I am surprised we're all still alive.
Oh, my boy Stephan, I love that.
That was a tough moment.
We got his last 2 interviews ever.
Stephan was my boy, man. I love that guy. Every time, like, I don't really go to Vegas much anymore because like half of the reason I go to Vegas was to hang out with Stephan Bonnar and like run around, and like we go to
Phil Baroni. Was Phil Baroni there?
Phil Baroni was in there, and we go to like we'd go hang out with like this guy who ran some gambling website and some other spot. Like it was like, and then we'd hang out with Alex Schonauer, who was also on season 1. He goes by Chili Dog Willis. We'd go Chili Dog Willis, and then we'd go. Like I remember one time, like I told him, like I don't know how to really ride these, like, you know, those dirt bikes. I said, like, I don't really know how to ride them, but I've ridden them before. So Chili Dog Willis had 2, and he goes, "Hey Sam, come here, get on the dirt bike." And I was like, "Nah, bro, I'm gonna crash and bust my ass." He's like, "No, come on, give it a try." And like he wanted to see me bust my ass, so I get on that thing and I give it a little gas. And it's like, okay, and I finally start getting the balance on it, and I take off, and I start having fun. He's like, "Man, give me the bike back." And like he's all like, Chili Dog is a troll. Do you remember Alex Schonauer?
Oh yeah, he had a decent career in the WEC, right? After
he was great. He was great, man. I'm telling you. So I would hang out with Chili Dog, and I'd hang out with American Psycho, and it'd be a mess. I used to love that. But then when he passed away, unfortunately, like rest in peace. Prayers go out to him and his family. I love his parents. I love his, his father, his mother, and like his uncles and everybody that I met there. And like, I just, it was real sad when we had to be there for that moment.
Yeah. By the way, the UFC announcer you asked me to Google is Ryan Bennett.
Okay.
Is that who you were thinking of?
Yes. I'm going to give you guys, what do you call them? Easter eggs. I'm going to give you guys an Easter egg on Ryan Bennett. So back when everything was a secret and everybody had to be quiet, there was a website called Fight Sport. And Fight Sport was very aggressive when talking about people. And they would drop things that were absolutely spoken behind closed doors with very few ears listening in regards to like plans for the UFC. And it got to the point where the UFC executives would go on the Fight Sport message boards and they would just have fuck you matches with anonymous people being taunted by these trolls using VPNs before anybody even knew what a VPN was. And they tried to figure out who the leak was. They couldn't figure out who this leak was.
Who was the leak?
Ryan Bennett. And I'm going to tell you why. Wait, I'm going to tell you why. I don't want to disparage this guy's name. When the executives would go to defend themselves, Ryan Bennett used the same password that he used on his UFC email. And they hacked into his email and would listen to, and they would get stuff from his email and then post it in real time on Fight Sport. So this is what I did.
Crazy. Why are these? It's like,
I'm going to tell you this. Nobody knows. Dana White does not know this. So the person was named Tape Lord. I tracked him down about a year ago, and he had like a voice distinguisher. He tries to play it off like he's European. He's American. My belief, I know who he is. But I don't want to say it because I don't know. I don't want to get sued. And he definitely would do that. So in essence, he told me 15 years later, yeah, when Ryan Bennett got fired, that's when all like the secret messages stopped. Yeah, we were hacking into his emails.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's how fucking crazy it was. But Sam, this is pre-Ultimate Fighter. Like, this is what we were into, man.
Yeah, it's Wild West.
Dude, and it's crazy because it was a cool thing before it was a cool thing. It was like,
oh, yeah.
It was a subculture of subcultures that, like, unless you were in the mob, you were a martial artist, or you were like a fight aficionado, or you were like some internet person who's deep in the dark web, you did not know about this,
No. And dude, Stephan Bonner, you gotta look at it this way. Stephan Bonner has got Miguel Torres and Carlson Gracie in his corner. You got Rory Markham and Pat Miletich.
Yeah. We had a war. It was fun.
Fuck.
It was fun. We went to town. Oh my gosh. When he passed away, I posted a little clip on Instagram. Like, I enjoyed every moment of it, bro.
What's crazy? So, you get knocked out by a knee by Forrest Griffin in the house.
Not knocked out. I wasn't asleep.
Okay, look, it got stopped.
It was a fight stoppage. It wasn't a KO.
Okay. Fair enough. It gets stopped. I think the matchmakers were like, all right, well, if that happened with Forrest, what kind of a different fighter is Sam? And dude, you were not even close to being the same. Like, I think you leveled up mentally, which allowed you to kind of physically progress after the Ultimate Fighter aired.
I think that honestly, what I think happened was, I think that was a part of it, but I think another part of it was just like the amazing teammates that I had training at Miletich, like, because they all saw that too. You know what I mean? And like over at Miletich, like if you finally made it on to, like, if you were one of us, like everybody would push you. But the person who like really clued into me and helped me out the most, other than obviously Pat Miletich and like the cadre of the team, the person like on the mats who really like I think upped my game the most was this guy named Drew McFedricks.
Really? Dude, he had a fast track to the UFC. He had a California type entrance to the UFC. 4 fights in. Go ahead.
Dude, he like on the mats, like standing up, almost the only person who I knew that didn't really like try to dodge Drew McFedry on sparring nights was Robbie Lawler, because Robbie loved to go into, he loved getting into that mosh pit with
that fire.
He loved that. Like those two were like twins, but Drew was one of the guys who like, and I asked him, like, before he made it to the UFC, I was the first person who brought him to the UFC as my corner. I said, Drew, will you be my sparring partner and one of my training partners for this camp? And like, being that I had like all that money coming in from my sponsor, like I'd pay these guys to come train with me. And like over at Miletich, like they never pay anybody. It's like Miletich was like the mafia. Like if the mafia told a mafia member to go kill somebody, according to like one of these interviews I heard on YouTube, you just went and did it. You didn't, there was no like, no, we're not going to pay you. So it was a lot like that at Miletich. Like if you needed help, you tell somebody and they just come help you, But like, in order to incentivize these guys, I had all this money coming in, so I started paying them so I could really get the best out of them. We'd sit there and watch these videos and we'd make notes and we'd like, it was really like, I really appreciated like Drew McFedry's, Rory Markham, Huey, Dewey, Louie, that's their nicknames. Sherman Pendergast, Tim Sylvia.
Hey, R.I.P. Sherman.
Huh?
Yeah, R.I.P. Sherman.
Rest in peace, Sherman. He was wonderful. Like, love that guy,
I had heard that you and Jeremy Horn always butted heads.
No, we didn't get along. But like I always admired him, and like I always like tried to like see if I could like get like chances to roll with him, and like he was cordial and he was cool, but like like our energies just didn't match, like, and like I think a lot of it might have been like I was a big fan of his, you know what I mean? Uh-huh. And so like there's times like when you're fans of somebody that you kind of do too much, Does that make sense?
It does. When we interviewed Jeremy, he said, although he was coaching like Robbie, Jens, and all those Tim Sylvia, all those big names, he said, as much as we got along and we're on the same page on the mat, he's like, off the mat, we were completely different people. He's like, I never hung out with those guys off the mat. He's like, I just play video games and go home.
I think Jeremy is like, he's like one of those, the best way I can describe him is he's like, do you know those people that are like geniuses? Like they're really
savant. Marc Laimon. We talked about him earlier.
Like Jeremy Horn is a lot like that. Like he's like the mixture between the scientist and the artist. You know what I mean? And like if he likes you, he really likes you, and like you spend time, you'll hang out and you get. But if he doesn't like you, like he'll still grace you with his stuff. But like bro, like fucking hang out,
Did you know that he's never bled in an MMA match? Ever?
What? Wait. The Chuck Liddell rematch?
Never bled. Never bled.
I believe it. He's that dude. Jeremy Horn's that guy.
His eye was closing. Maybe, yeah, you might be right.
He might be a reptilian. Yeah. He might not be fucking human. Like I'm saying later, here, listen, you guys want to say, hey, dude, like that money in your wallet, who's a reptilian? Fucking Jeremy Horn. That's where my cash is on.
So like Jeremy Horn, but like I said, like I like, even though we weren't friends, and I think also I was like, you got to think who I was when I came in there. I was this 21-year-old young college graduate who's coming into this den of fighters, who's like the man down in the South, and now I want to be the man over here, and like I'm trying to fit in with these guys, and like I've never like rarely if ever do I ever try to fit in with anybody. Usually I'm like, fuck you, you're gonna like me or you're gonna leave. But like this group of guys, like I wanted to like be a part of it, and like I felt like that relationship probably got frayed because I tried too hard, I was doing too much, and like I did the most, And so like that, unfortunately, that never took off. But like I still admire and respect him. Yeah, tons.
Yeah, you have to.
And like it's like, look, I don't know how many of you guys are friends with your coworkers, but like when I work at a place, I'm like, unless I'm working with a friend of mine, I'm typically not friends with my coworkers, Like we work together, we do the work, we leave, And I felt that was kind of like the working order between me and him, for lack of a better way to put it.
All right.
Sam Hoger, we're at 2.5 hours.
No, okay. I got some questions, some people on Facebook asked I need to answer.
Okay.
You mind?
Go.
Okay, so Andrew Cerna on Facebook asked, what are the MMA organizations doing about stopping eye pokes? Right now, I think the thing that they're trying to do is they're trying to do like some type of adjustments on the gloves, but I don't know exactly what they're going to do to stop that because eye pokes are always going to be a thing as long as fingers are available to grab. Number two, Andrew Cerner again, if a fighter gets kicked in the cup, then the fighter who got kicked automatically wins. I don't know that. I mean, only if they fall out.
Sam, I'm going to be honest with you. We're an advanced podcast. Are some of these guys jerk offs or are they all right?
Yeah, they're all wonderful. They're my people on Facebook.
Okay.
And they're
okay. Are you live on Facebook? Are you live on Facebook right now?
No, I'm not.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
Questions though that they posted right here.
Sure.
Military Fighting Systems early stuff. One of the most dominant teams in history by Zeller's. We talked a lot about that. Yeah, I mean, enjoy the podcast. I mean, it was wonderfully brutal, for lack of a better way to put it. What's your hardest fight in training? Hardest fight was against Machida because Machida was very hard to try to catch, to try to narrow down, to try to beat. But I mean, it was a wonderful fight. Went all the way to a decision, and he's a great martial artist. Sam Sevier, why is MMA pay so bad? Well, because I mean, historically, like, and even to this day, most people will be lucky to get $1,000 for a pro fight because most organizations don't have a massive budget that they're able to spend on fighters, especially since a lot of fighters are very entitled and they don't feel the need to sell tickets and they don't feel the need to put in the work to build their fan base. That a lot of the times works against their own money. If they want to make money, they need to make a deal with a promoter where they sell tickets, they get a percentage of those sales. They can make $1 billion in a fight if they just sell enough tickets. Will you return to freestyle kickboxing? Gerald Tat. Wait, before that. Andrew Schnigel. Are you still friends with anyone from TUF 1? I'm still friends with Mike Swick. I was friends with Stephan Bonner until he passed away. Rest in peace. I'm friends with Sanford. I'm friends with who else?
Sanford's a great guy. Gilbert Melendez's original manager. Sanford's
awesome.
Unknown fact right there.
I got to get a question in too. I'm not on Facebook, but I got a question for you.
What's up?
Okay, so you fought a guy who I know well because he's a California King of the Cage guy. All right, yes. So when you fought Newton, well,
yes.
Okay, so he was kind of a legend in King of the Cage. One of the first like successful karate guys ever. So what do you remember?
Student.
Yeah. Okay. What do you remember from that fight? Because it was pretty wild.
Who's student?
Eric Paulson.
That makes sense. He's a California guy.
Yeah. Jeff Newton, man, stylistically, like that guy was an anomaly, you know. But like, I think he was more I think the reason there was a time like if you look at the end of the first round, he almost had me finished because he had that heel hook across.
Yes.
He would have won that fight.
I watched it today. Yeah.
Saved my tail right there. Because Jeff had me dead to rights, and he almost had me in that armbar too.
Well, you ended his career.
Huh?
You were his last fight. You ended his career.
Well, I don't think I ended it. I think he just he kind of hung up the gloves after that because I felt like I did any kind of significant damage to him that like stopped him from taking another fight. You know, I mean, but like the thing I remember about Jeff though was like he is a really dude like. And mind you, I'm a karate guy. I know that this karate guy is a big deal in our world, you know?
Yeah.
And I think it's just, you know, we had planned correctly to wait till he hit me and get the takedown on him because he had that tendency to like to be on his toes and bounce. So like he had a lot of power in his shots when he hit, you know?
Yeah.
Because he bounces. He doesn't sit there and sit down on his shots and try to like, you know, drill it into you. He's like a projectile in the air and all his weight's coming at the end of those shots.
Right.
So it was time, like the timing was correct. So caught him midair, got him down on the ground. And then from there, like he surprised me with his jiu-jitsu. He started attacking like a barracuda. And then, you know, I had to adjust to his game. So then the second time I took him down, you know, I was able to go ahead and work it to get to his back. And then when I sunk in that rear naked choke, you know, I got the tap. But yeah.
Was it Tim Sylvia in your corner for that one? I think I heard his voice on the recording.
It for sure was.
Yeah, Tim, like anytime, like almost anytime I fought, I always had Tim there because like that was my that was like he like out of the dog, like all the dogs in there, like he was top dog amongst like the heavyweights and the light heavyweights. He was like the big guy, like he was a BMOC. He was a big man on campus.
Yeah.
So like you always wanted Tim there, you wanted Drew there, you wanted who else did you wanted Pat if you could get him, but like Pat's a hard guy to get, you know? Okay, next question. from Andrew Schlink. Are you still friends with? Oh no, I didn't. Gerald Taz. Will you return to freestyle kickboxing? If the money is right, I'll be more than happy to return to any fight. But like, it's not. If you go look at the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation, you can look up my last pay. I'm not a cheap date. Ryan Monty, who's your favorite student? Oh, from Hoger Mixed Martial Arts and Miletich Fighting Systems, Houston. My favorite student,
Sage Northcutt.
No, Sage, no way he's not my favorite. He was definitely one of the most prolific and most successful, but no, he's not my favorite. He is a stud though. He is amazing. But no, my favorite student was who is my favorite student? You know, all the guys who were part of this subgroup, this group that was inside of our team called the Dirty South Dojo. You know, all those guys that were part of DSD, those were probably some of my favorite students right there. Anyone who was part of Hoger MMA or Miletich Fighting Systems Houston, they know what DSD stands for. Question from James Stake. Whatever questions they ask, just let the conversation flow. Thank you for the advice, James. Oh, how did the first BJJ club begin at LSU? We spoke about that. Seth M. Holton. Why was Fedor so badass? Because he was Russian.
Yeah, that helped. That's part of it.
Hey, the Russians did the training that put to shame. No. And not only did they do the training that would put to shame most other training gyms, they were willing to endure pain more than most other fighters in our era. Like there were Russian fighters whose arms I remember would break and they would fight with one arm and still win. Who was it that did that? Was it Zinoviev?
No, we had Zinoviev on. I actually hung out with him in Florida. Epstein's bodyguard, actually, yep. Zinoviev. The guy with broken arm was Forrest Griffin, as well as
that definitely happened.
That was in Brazil, and the other guy that fought with a broken arm. Fuck, I think it was Forrest Griffin that you're thinking
Forrest Griffin broke down Jeff Munson with a broken arm. I remember that. Forrest was a badass, man. I remember that.
He was,
dude. But yeah, the Russians back in the day, like there was pecking orders. Like the baddest dudes in America was Miletich. The baddest dudes in Brazil was this team called Shoot Box. The bad guys in Russia were just
the Red Devils.
Yeah, Red Devil fight team.
The Red Devil fight team.
And then the baddest guys in Europe were what was that Golden Glory team?
Yeah, we just had Valentino Varim on. We've had some of our Dutch interviews because they were all mafia money. So I think some of the best interviews we've ever done are people from Holland.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the politics of Holland, but like I know like team wise, those were like the most dominant teams, and I don't think Canada really had a standout team at that time until
Tompkins. Well, outside of Joe Dorkson, I mean Tompkins really kind of brought people forward.
No, but he came to Miletich to train with us a lot.
I'm just a single Canadian. Dorkson like raised the flag, and he had to leave Canada to do it. There's only 3 Canadian 50 Fight Club members.
Oh.
And there'll never be another 50 Fight Club member coming out of Canada. Ever.
So that's the questions that I got from everybody on Facebook. Man, guys, thank you so much for the
good
Sam,
interview.
So much
I got to be honest with you, Sam. We've got a shitload of other questions in regards to your UFC career. Let's give it a little bit of a time. We got to have you back on, dude. Greatly appreciate it.
Joe, you think that one more thing you wanted to ask?
No, I asked it. It was about Jeff Newton.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, I mean, hey, if you guys want to get in touch with me, I'm always available. I'm on Facebook. You guys are more than welcome to reach out to me. I'm on Instagram. I don't get on Snapchat that much. I am on Twitter a little bit. I want to thank everybody, all the fans, all the people who were a part of building this movement. And thank you to everyone who's contributed to MMA to make it the super sport that it is nowadays. I appreciate this podcast. And if you guys ever want to get in touch with me, or if you have any questions, I'm thinking about getting a group of guys together to start managing them, like a group of badasses to start seeing if I can get them out there, because I know what talent looks like before it gets to the UFC. I want to thank Mike Kolodzi. He's my attorney out in Los Angeles. I want to thank Miletich Fighting Systems, all the teammates who helped make me who I've become. I want to thank Dana White. I want to thank the Fertitas. I want to thank WMA, who ended up purchasing the UFC. And thank you to all the fans and everybody who's been a part of this. You guys are a blessing, and I hope that we can continue building this sport and taking over the world like we're destined to do.
Amen. Gentlemen, Good night, man. Take care, guys.
Good night, guys. Thank you, Sam.
Check out the full interview on iTunes, Spotify, and all major podcast platforms.